members, supporters, and people of Lancashire. It is great to be made president of this wonderful club, and one I do not take lightly. When I first arrived here, I had no idea what lay ahead. What began as a chance to play cricket became something I never expected. It became home. The best years of my cricketing life were spent wearing the red rose.
And that could be it, it is. And what a great 100 this is from Clive Lloyd.
We won trophies and made memories I will always carry.
This push it is taking a single to Lloyd. And they must be out, just look at that.
But trophies only tell part of the story. What made Lancashire truly special was the people. You embraced me not just as a cricketer, but as one of your own. The friendships and connections I have built here have never faded, and I know they never will. My promise is simple. Cricket comes first. It is my great hope that we return to Division 1 of the County Championship, and that our women's team continues to grow into one of the most formidable sides in the country. Across both men and women's cricket, we must be ambitious and we must be bold. What excites me most is what lies ahead. The next generation carrying the red rose with the same pride as those before them. The future is ours to shape together. Lancashire will always hold a special place in my heart. We are the red rose together.
Hello everybody, and a very good morning and a warm welcome from Emirates Old Trafford for the fourth and final day of Lancashire against Northamptonshire in the Rothesay County Championship, live on the BBC Sport website and app, and viewers, a very warm welcome to our coverage on Lancs TV as well, where Lancashire will resume in about, just under 10 minutes, their second innings. They're 24 for 2. Well, I mean, the target is 446, but perhaps the more important figure for Lancashire is the 96 overs remaining in the day. And of course, the crucial thing for Northamptonshire is 8 more wickets for a first win here at Old Trafford, I think since 1999. I read in Paul Edwards' piece on The Cricketer this morning, in which it also gave reference to my friend and colleague Andrew Ragg. Good morning.
Morning, Scott. Morning, everybody. Yes, I was very flattered. But Northamptonshire have only ever won here 4 times, and it's interesting. We were discussing this morning, actually, with Paul, that when they won here in 1999, it was a little bit of a set-up job. There was, declarations and a bit of joke bowling and so on. So I suppose the last time you would say they've won here properly, as it were, having bowled a side out twice, was 1976, so 50 years ago, when Mushtaq Mohammed's team won here, and David Lloyd probably will have memories of that game of a slightly different sort, in that I think he has suffered a depressed fracture of the cheekbone. I think Bob Cottam hit him, but suffice it to say, Northamptonshire have very rarely won here, so it would be something special if they managed to do it today. But Ricardo Vasconcelos last night was saying they know it's not going to be a walkover. They know they're going to have to work hard for the last 8 wickets today, and they will be prepared for that. And I think, as we discussed last night, I think Yuzi Chahal will have quite a considerable role to play. I suspect he might get through a few overs today.
We've not seen anything of Calvin Harrison yet, but again, likewise, he probably potentially falls into that category.
I would think so, yeah. I mean, he obviously has very happy memories of this ground, as we were discussing yesterday. He picked up 11 wickets here last year, which set a new Northamptonshire record for a bowler making their first-class debut for the club. And he's bowled pretty well across all formats this year. Wasn't required in the first innings, I strongly suspect he will be required in the second. But the thing is, with having those two, and with Harrison and with Chahal, it does give Luke Proctor a chance, if he wants to basically block an end up and then just circulate the seamers. Well, there's somebody who's excited at the prospect of the day. If you're watching on Lancs TV, there's a gentleman just having a quiet Sunday morning doze. It gets to us all at this time of the year, just now and again. But yeah, it gives him a chance to basically circulate his seamers. Ben Sanderson, Liam Guthrie, I think, has bowled pretty well. Proctor himself. I don't think we shall see James Sales on the field today. I did see him first thing this morning, and he got one of those protective boots on. So I would be very surprised if he plays any part today. But obviously they've got Louis Kimber, who's already picked up 3 decent grabs in the slip cordon since he came on as sub yesterday. So, you know, Proctor's got options. It would mean, I know I was talking to him last night, it would mean a huge amount to Luke Proctor to win here. But, you know, everybody knows there's still a lot of work to be done. And I'm sure Lancashire will they will just be trying to take it as deep as they possibly can and make sure they're still there at tea and see where they are.
Yes, I guess that's the... I mean, obviously, Stephen Croft, as you would expect, he's trying to be upbeat last night in a pretty difficult situation and talking about trying to take it deep and see where they can get to and try and chase some runs down. But I guess those ambitions are a long, long way down the line for Lancashire. Northamptonshire have outplayed Lancashire pretty comprehensively across the 2.5 days, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Yeah,
18 overs, I think, on the first day, and then lost a bit on day 2 as well. But they've been by far the better side. But I guess from their point of view, is making sure that they leave here with a win, because everything they put into the game, if they don't, then that will be a huge blow for them.
Well, they will be mindful, of course, of what happened here last year, because Lancashire batted 149 overs in their second innings to save the match. We talked about Calvin Harrison picked up 7 wickets in the innings, but Northamptonshire couldn't quite force a win. And they will, you know, be mindful of that, and they will not particularly want to be in the position where they have to, have to go away and say, well, okay, we had the moral victory, but not the points, and it's the points that they're after.
Absolutely,
Darren Lehman has said they probably need 3 wins in the last 6 if they're to have a decent chance of promotion. Well, this is a golden opportunity to get one of those.
It absolutely is, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, let's be honest, Riders. If Northamptonshire can win the game here this week, then they are. I mean, they are already, but they're banging the race for promotion, aren't they?
Well, as we were saying, they've still got the 2 teams that are currently above them in the table, Kent and Durham, to play at Wantage Road in the next 2 rounds. So, they if they could get a win here, then they will feel they are absolutely in the mix, and it's great for the club and for supporters, because it means that the season is going to go potentially right the way through until Lords at the back end of September, which would be terrific for all concerned.
Wouldn't it just? Yeah, so you've still got Kent and Durham to play, so it's could be a really, really good end to the season for Northamptonshire. Unless Lancashire can try and drag something from this day, then you would think that probably their hopes of trying to do something which would be pretty extraordinary, bearing in mind the second bottom, to try and keep their season going might just vanish if they were to lose this match here today. But anyway, we shall see how the morning and the afternoon unfold. We've got Tom Bailey, the night watchman, resuming with Lancashire's captain Josh Bohannon. Guthrie is going to start the proceedings from the Jimmy Anderson. Would you like the Sir James Anderson end, Andrew?
Well, why not?
Yeah, I think you deserve that.
That's awfully sweet of you. Well, it is going to be Guthrie. There are 4 slips in place. Vasconcelos at first, Harrison at second, Kimber at third, Safe Zabe at fourth. And here's the first ball of the final day. And it's Liam Guthrie outside the off-stump to Josh Bohannon, who leaves it alone, goes through to Lewis McManus. We were saying last night, I think probably my favourite moment yesterday was when Safe Zabe knocked the ball up for Louis Kimber to eventually take the rebound to dismiss Keaton Jennings, and there was Safe Zabe on the floor, having basically dropped the catch, but hammering the ground in triumph because Kimber had caught the rebound. It was a nice moment. Not for Keaton Jennings, though. Here's Guthrie in, bowls outside the off stump, left alone again by Josh Bohannon. Well, he would dearly love, he's already got 4 Championship hundreds against Northamptonshire. He would dearly love a 5th here today. So,
well, he got one last season in the fixture where Lancashire having to bat to save the match in that game.
And made 90, of course, in the game at Wantage Road back in April, which Northamptonshire just managed to hang on, courtesy largely of George Bartlett.
Yeah, that's his top score this season.
Bartlett in there at backward point. As Guthrie, the left armour, is in. And again outside the off stump, left alone by Bohannon. Just a little bit of shape back into the right-hander. It's a nice, pleasant morning. Forecast is good. Sun is behind cloud at the moment, but you can see the sunshine bathing Trafford Town Hall, just over the other side of Talbot Road. So I don't think the weather is going to have a role to play.
No, I think so.
Here's Guthrie with the members' pavilion behind him, in and bowls to Bohannon, who pads up. Big appeal for LBW, not out, says umpire Watts. Maybe a little bit high was first thought there. It's a dangerous thing to do with the ball just nipping around a little bit, but nevertheless, I think certainly the appeal from behind the stumps was a little muted. Just having a look at the replay. Yeah, it was a bit too high. Almost hit him in the bread basket.
Don't need that on a Sunday morning.
You definitely don't know. Sunshine just starting to bathe part of the ground now. As Guthrie is in and bowls to Bohannon, hit on the pad again as he pushes half forward. Another appeal, not out, says umpire Chris Watts. But Guthrie just getting it's still a relatively new ball, of course. It's only in its 12th over, and he's just getting a little bit of shape this morning. Again, a little bit high, I think, but not a bad shout.
No, probably just height, isn't it? That's like side on.
Yeah, hit him almost above the thigh pad. So good decision, I think, from umpire Watts. But Bohannon being made to think by Guthrie, who is in again and bowls, and that's short and wide, and it's thumped away by Bohannon through backward point. It's going to run away to the boundary for 4 it is. So first runs of the morning for Lancashire. It was not the best ball that Liam Guthrie has bowled in this match by a long chalk, and it got put away. Bohannon is 5, and Lancashire at the end of the first over are 28 for 2.
Yeah, a couple of shouts in there, but then a nice ball to get for Bohannon to get himself going this morning. I said that the way that the declaration came last night, I don't know whether this was designed, it just felt right at the time to declare, but it at least allowed them to have a little dart at Lancashire. They picked up 2 really key wickets, and then the bowlers are nice and fresh, and the ball's still hard. So it all worked out lovely for Luke Proctor, really, yesterday. Just about, and I'm certain that he'll say that's all entirely in design from the Northamptonshire captain. But it does allow them to start nice and fresh this morning at 28 for 2. We've got Ben Sanderson bowling to Tom Bailey. He's up and he likes it, but a third LBW shout of the morning on this occasion is turned down off the bowling of Ben Sanderson. We reckon certainly the Bohannon one's maybe a little high. That's come back in, maybe just angling down the leg side. And there's Bailey, the night watchman, prodding forward. A very warm welcome to viewers and listeners who may just be joining us across various platforms, whether across the BBC or on Lancs TV, where Lancashire 28 for 2. They're in their second innings. As Sanderson's into Bailey and gets forward. Just drops out into the onside. There's no run. So Lancashire have been set an almighty task, which would be a record for them, which wouldn't be a huge surprise. They need 446 runs to win. Northamptonshire need 8 wickets for a victory here. It would be their first since 1999. It would absolutely get them as they are already right bang in the promotion race, it may well kind of sign off Lancashire's hopes, potentially, but there would still be 5 games, of course, to go. But fundamentally, Andrew, right, it would mean a kind of reward for what has been an absolutely dominant performance by Northampton.
Well, they have, as I said on socials last night, if a certain brewery with Northampton connections did days of Championship cricket, as far as Northamptonshire are concerned, yesterday would have been one of them. It was obviously exceeded all expectations. They battled on day 2 to get themselves a decent total, obviously after a rain shortened first day. Got up to 280, which we thought was competitive. But then they came out yesterday morning and picked up 8 wickets for 57 to bowl Lancashire out. The follow-on was just avoided. I don't think they would have enforced it. But then they went out and played with purpose.
Yeah, just a bit. Here's Sanderson over the wicket to Bailey. That's whipped into the onside. There is a forward short leg in place. He's going to get a couple out towards the square leg boundary by the time that it's scooped up on the boundary rope. So 2 more for Bailey, 30 for 2.
Yeah, 100 for Vasconcelos, others chipped in. Proctor 46, Calvin Harrison off the mark with 2 sixes. He made 29, McSweeney 29, safe save, got a quick 50. And they left themselves basically 107 overs to try and bowl Lancashire out, which they are endeavouring to do.
Fuller by Sanderson and nicely driven by Bailey. It's stride down the pitch and pushes away through extra cover. Good work by Chahal to catch up with the ball, and the relay throw comes in from Nathan McSweeney, and they've run 3. Bailey moves on to 14, 33 for 2.
And I mean, I suppose the main issue is going to be the state of this pitch on the 4th day. Glenn Chappell, Northamptonshire's senior assistant coach, to give him his full title, obviously knows this ground moderately well. He felt it was getting a little bit flatter, might be easier to bat on, but at the same time, it has nibbled around pretty much throughout. The bounces, particularly from the far end, has been just a little bit up and down. So Northamptonshire will hope there's enough in it for them to get those 8 wickets today.
Sanderson to Bohannon, half a step forward and defends pretty solidly back to the bowler, and there's no run.
I have to say, one of the Northamptonshire players with whom I came down in the lift this morning said, is it really 27 years since we won a championship match here? I said, yes, it is.
That's that stats done the rounds, has it?
Stats has seriously done the rounds, okay. Yeah. So, well,
was he actually younger than 27? Was he not born when the time that Northamptonshire last won it?
Just, I think.
Right. Sanderson to Bohannon, 4 slips and a short leg. Bohannon defends. It comes off the outer half of the bat and disappears behind point, and Bohannon gets through for 1. He's on to 6 now. 34 for 2. That's the end of Sanderson's first over of the morning.
And you mentioned quite rightly, Scott, that Northamptonshire, if they need it, could have a second new ball available much later on in the day. But of course, they do have, if you like, the other factor in this, which is spin. They have Yussi Chahal, who's already picked up the big wicket of Marcus Harris in this innings. Last night. They have Calvin Harrison, who didn't even bowl in the first innings, but they got him up the sleeve as well, so plenty of options for Luke Proctor. But Liam Guthrie, the left armour, I think this is by common consent of those that have watched Northamptonshire season, it's been his best game with the ball so far. He's in at the start of a fresh over from the Sir James Anderson end, brings Bohannon forward, steers it down to Bartlett at backward point. There is no run.
Yes, it was some day yesterday, for all the wrong reasons for Lancashire, for all the right reasons for Northamptonshire. How the game moved on so dramatically, which has produced this possibility for Northamptonshire. And those 2 wickets at the back end of last night, the declaration for Northamptonshire, allowing them to have 11 overs at Lancashire last night, and they got rid of Jennings and Harris in that 11 over.
Guthrie in, left arm over on the hip of Bohannon, turns it into the leg side, thinks about a single, but it's not there. Fielded by Sanderson.
Another element to this as well is that obviously Night Watchman's out here, Bailey at the minute, and Bohannon's a senior batter. But to come for Lancashire, which is in one regard really exciting because they're young players with a great chance and I'm sure a very bright future, but they are players with limited experience is Araf Shetty, Rocky Flintoff and Joe Moores are coming in next for Lancashire, and a couple of teenagers, and Shetty's only just starting out on his career as well.
Guthrie in and bowls and forced away by Bohannon without any great timing off the back foot up to extra cover, and there is no run.
And it was a point that Darren Leadham actually had, didn't he,
Yes.
on commentary yesterday when he was with us.
Yeah, he said, obviously they're very well aware that there is a lack of experience, no lack of talent, but a lack of experience in the middle order, and they were looking to exploit that. I mean, Araf Shetty played beautifully for his 37, played some quite sumptuous strokes, but in the end, being undone by probably the best ball of the day, I think, from Ben Sanderson. Here's Guthrie in and bowls and defended by Bohannon back down the pitch. There's no run. Guthrie pitching it up as he generally does. And he's had a little bit of shape this morning with a still relatively new ball. Batting to come. Shetty, Flintoff, Moores and George Balderson undefeated in the first innings. Ben Walkden on debut bowled beautifully in Northamptonshire's first innings, but was out first ball yesterday, so he's on a king pair. And Noman Ali and Mitch Stanley. Here's Guthrie in again, bowls, and Bohannon again opens the face, runs it down to Bartlett at backward point. George Bartlett has the shin pads on, because when Sanderson is bowling, and I would imagine when we do see Yussi Chahal at some point, he'll be at Boot Hill. Seems a bit harsh considering how well he played in the first season. And, we were saying last night about the number of players that have contributed to this position that Northamptonshire are in. And you have to say George Bartlett's innings of 92 in the first innings, absolutely crucial. Here's Guthrie in again, bowls to Bohannon. Again, just a little bit of shape as Bohannon pushes forward. Goes off the inner portion of the bat out into the leg side. They come through for a comfortable single. And he keeps the bowling. Last ball of the over. Bohannon is 7, Bailey is 14. And Lancashire 35 for 2 after being set 446 to win.
Were last year's frustrations that Northamptonshire couldn't beat Lancashire here in a game, which is a very similar situation, albeit Lancashire were following on them, weren't they? But they were still up against having to bat the last day to save it. Would that have been mentioned, do you reckon?
Yes,
okay.
I think it was.
Okay.
I'm just talking to Luke Proctor, just having a quick chat with him while I was waiting for Ricardo Vasconcelos to come down last night to do the sort of the main interview. But I was having a chat with the captain, and he said, we remember what we sort of owe them one, if you like, from last year. I mean, it was in the sense, obviously, that Lancashire battled very hard and played very well with great resilience to save the game. But yeah, they're aware of that, and they know they haven't got as much time this time to try and bowl them out. So it's definitely in the mindset.
Short leg and 4 slip catches. Sanderson starts a fresh over. That's a lovely ball going past Bohannon's outside edge. I thought you were going to say, Radez, there that I was having a chat with Luke Proctor while queuing for the hash browns this morning. I thought that was the line you were going to come out with.
No, I was very, very early down this morning.
Excellent.
And, I did see Northamptonshire's physio, Burnley's very own Lee Daggett, walking in the opposite direction when I'd had my fill. I did leave him 1 or 2, honestly.
The test match special again, these hash browns. There's Sanderson's to Bohannon, that's defended to mid-off, and there's no run.
Yes, I had an extra one this morning.
Oh, that's outrageous.
For luck, on the basis that, I certainly won't be having another one for a few months. So, heading back to Northamptonshire tonight. So, just got to have your fill.
You absolutely have, yeah.
But no, extremely good, very nice. And it's just, I just love the idea of being able to gaze over the ground and wonder what the day might hold as you tuck into your hash browns plus whatever else.
35 for 2, Sanderson to Bohannon. Very neatly in behind it, full face of the bat. He defends up to mid-on.
There's one or two discussions, I don't know what your thought on this, Scott, from the Lancashire perspective, is one or two people saying from the Northamptonshire supporters, well, did they bat on a bit too long? Should they have pulled out a bit earlier? It didn't seem to me that they were batting on overly long. I think we talked about 420, didn't we, as a potential. They perhaps just wanted to rub it in a little bit. I thought 11 overs was actually quite a nice length of session.
Sanderson to Bohannon, that comes off the edge of the bat, maybe even the shoulder of the bat. It's disappearing down towards the third man boundary. He may have done Bohannon a complete disservice there. He may have expertly guided that down to third man, but it looked from where we are that maybe it was slightly more off an edge. 37 for 2.
But time will tell, won't it? I mean, if Lancashire is still batting at 6 o'clock tonight and manage to save the game, then I'm sure the West Standers will be. Told you.
Well, I agree. Yeah, it comes down to if they win, then it's a good declaration. If they don't, and then it's you can live and die by that, don't you? But some of the pads of Bohannon deflects into the offside. But I don't think it could have gone any better. I mean, they got rid of Jennings and Harris.
Yeah.
So they got them 2 down at the close of play. I'm not so sure they could do much more. I think they'll think if they can't take 8 wickets in 96 overs, then Lancashire deserve to draw because they'll have batted well.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this yesterday. I do think, and this perhaps sounds a slightly odd thing to say, but I do think that probably Northamptonshire were taken slightly by surprise at how well yesterday went.
Sanderson over the wicket, a little bit fuller. Forward goes Bohannon, defends. Gathered by Chahal, who'll be eager to have a turn already. It looks to me, I don't know him obviously, but he looks like that type of guy that just wants to get into the action quickly.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Can't imagine he's too far away. 37 for 2 at the end of the over.
Keep an eye, obviously, on what's happening elsewhere, with still some championship matches to be decided today. Also, of course, the quarterfinals of the Women's T20 County Cup today, with 4 matches, winners of which will be coming up here to Emirates Old Trafford for finals day. Northamptonshire are involved, as are Lancashire. Northamptonshire, the only Tier 2 side still involved in that competition. They play Essex at Wantage Road today. Lancashire are away to the Blaze, aka Nottinghamshire at Lady Bay in Nottingham. Here's Guthrie. Still 4 slips in bowls, edged, and now has that carried?
I think he did.
I think it carried to Zabe. Yeah, it did. He's annoyed. At 4th slip, it was low. It wasn't an easy chance, but I think it did carry. We'll have a check on the replay. Zabe with his back to us. Forcing shot, yeah, absolutely. So that is a chance. This time, Louis Kimber, despite the fact that he is standing next to Safe Zabe, unlike last night when Zabe knocked one up and Kimber caught the rebound to dismiss Jennings, wasn't able to do so. So Bailey gets a life. Here's Guthrie in, bowls outside the off stump, quite wide outside the off stump, and left alone into the gloves of Lewis McManus. Those other Women's County Cup matches, Warwickshire play Surrey, Hampshire play Somerset, Blaze against Lancashire, Northamptonshire against Essex, and of course still some County Championship cricket to keep an eye on as well, apart from here at Old Trafford.
Yes, there were some belting finishes yesterday, wasn't there? Warwickshire Sussex game, probably the pick of the bunch in terms of exciting finishes.
Here's Guthrie. In and bowls short, very short. First bouncer he's bowled this morning. It sailed well over the head of Tom Bailey, who is not a small man.
No, he's not.
I'm slightly surprised that he got away with the wide there, because it was well over his head. But anyway, so the matches that are still in progress down at Southampton in Division 1. Hampshire 114 for 4 after being set 278 to beat Yorkshire. Here's Guthrie. And again, bowls to Bailey, and that's gone straight through him. Didn't miss the off stump by a great deal, didn't miss the outside edge by a great deal, but Northamptonshire have had a chance this morning. And they've put it down. The catching hasn't been flawless in this Northamptonshire performance. They dropped one early on in the first innings. Marcus Harris was put down early by George Bartlett at 4th slip. Didn't prove particularly costly. And then yesterday morning, Arav Shetty was dropped by Nathan McSweeney at mid-wicket. Was travelling, but got both hands to it. Guthrie is in and bowls and forced off the back foot down to backward point by Sanderson Fields. And there is no run. And then, as we mentioned last night, Keaton Jennings edging to Zabe, who managed to knock it up for Kimber to take the rebound. At Grace Road, where Glamorgan have been set 257 to win by Leicestershire, Glamorgan 135 for 6. Essex continuing their rearguard action after following on against Somerset at Taunton, 338 for 3. So Essex 27 ahead. There's Guthrie in again, bowls short, and Bailey just gets inside the line and watches it go into the gloves of McManus, and another over ticks by. Northamptonshire still looking for their first breakthrough of this final morning. 20 minutes in, Bohannon is 9, Bailey is 14, and Lancashire are 37 for 2. So that long partnership between Charlie Allison and Matt Critchley is ongoing. Allison 111 not out, Critchley 94 not out to keep Somerset at bay. And then in Division 2, Gloucestershire 268 for 3 in their second innings against Worcestershire at Cheltenham, leading by 151.
Sanderson from the State of Men starts another over. Bohannon looking to try and work it into the onside. That just wraps him somewhere on the leg, and it just drops down the pitch. There's no run.
And again, very much of relevance to the Division 2 promotion contest. Middlesex against Kent at Merchant Taylor's School. Kent currently second in the table, Middlesex fourth. Middlesex need 356 to win there. They're 206 for 5. So a bit of work to do for Middlesex, but they are still afloat. Lewis deploy 36 not out.
Sanderson for Northamptonshire balls again, just pushing it a little fuller. Defended by Bohannon. Snaps it up towards mid-off, and there's no run.
As far as he is concerned, he just feels that Glenn Chappell, Darren Lehman, Northamptonshire coaching team are going to be saying patience is the key. Mustn't get frustrated if things don't go their way early doors, but it is bound to be frustrating if you get the chance to get that breakthrough and it's gone down.
4 slip catches and a short leg. Sanderson to Bohannon, plays it late, defending it late. Ball bouncing out to point. No addition to the Lancashire score. Nathan McSweeney's at point. He's been in a few fielding positions, hasn't he? He's mid-off and mid-on at times. He's now at backward point. Charles at mid-off. Proctor, the captain's at mid-on. Bartlett under the helmet at short leg. We've got a fine leg and the 4 slip catches as well. Sanderson into Bohannon, neatly in behind it, turning it to Proctor on the onside. There's no run.
One of the many joys of this particular championship match has been the number of special guests we've been able to welcome into the commentary box. We've had Dane Villas and Kyle Hogg, Kate Cross, Darren Lehman popped up yesterday, Greg Smith. And today we have a sort of a link between one of my favourite cricketers and one of my favourite actors, Alec Guinness. The man in the white suit, Mal Loy.
Sanderson to Bohannon. That's a terrific leave. I need to go past his off stump and through to the keeper. It's a lovely jacket.
It's a lovely jacket. Yes, he does. He does very much look the part. Slightly sort of Man from Del Monte, isn't he?
Look forward to hearing from Mal. I found a lovely story on the BBC website, from some archive on the BBC website from 2009 when he left Lancashire to return to Northamptonshire. And there's a great quote from Lancashire's then director of cricket, Mike Watkinson. I can just imagine Winker saying this in his voice. Sanderson in the balls. Bohannon defends to mid-on, end of the over. It's a maiden, that 37 for 2. Watkinson says, it became apparent that irrespective of the terms of our contract offer to Mal, his decision to move had been made. We wish him all the best. He's made some great contributions for Lancashire, both on and off the field.
Yeah, well, he had a couple more seasons at Northamptonshire before finished, I think, at the end of 2011, and he may well tell you the story that which he told at the time of the passing of the much missed David Capel, who was then head coach, that when David called him in to just say, sorry, we're not going to offer you anything else, it was Capes that was in tears rather than Mal, which says quite a lot. Here's Guthrie in bowls very full to the night watchman Bailey, who I think got a little bit of bat on that. It was swinging in again. It was very full, and I suspect if there hadn't been a little bit of bat involved, that they might have asked the question. Calvin Harrison just starting to swing his arms at second slip, whether to in response to indication from his captain that he might get a bowl, or just to try and remind Luke Proctor that he's playing. He not bowled in the first innings. Here's Guthrie in and bowls and defended very solidly by Bailey out into the covers. No run. Two Northampton boys, of course, there, David Capel and Mal Loy.
7 years at Old Trafford, Mal Loy, he scored 10,603 runs in 7 seasons with Lancashire. Not bad, is it?
He'd settle for that. I think scored more first-class hundreds than any other Northamptonshire-born player, I believe. I need to check that. Here's Guthrie in bowl short, and Bailey ducks underneath it. For quite a while, it was nip and tuck between Mal and Ben Smith, who's now on the coaching staff at Derbyshire. He played for Leicestershire and Worcestershire, and later coached at Northamptonshire. And he was born in Corby. Had very little link with Northamptonshire apart from that, but it's a bit like Sam Curran. We claim him because he was born in Northampton, obviously, when his dad Kevin was captaining Northamptonshire. Don't think he considers himself a Northamptonian. Here's Guthrie in, bowls down the leg side. It's going to be 4 somethings, leg byes, I think, as it's just flicked off the pad. Yep, signalled by umpire Chris Watts. Lewis McManus diving away to his left, couldn't get anything on it, and it goes down to the boundary down in front of us here. Takes Lancashire to 41 for 2.
Another great story here. I'm trying to get these in before he comes into the room. Lancashire batsman Mal Loy is furious with England selectors after being overlooked for next month's World T20 tournament in South Africa. This is in 2007. His quote, "I'm so angry about the situation that I'm past caring." He told the Manchester Evening News.
Bless him. Here's Guthrie in and bowls edged, and that I don't think did carry to Kimber at third slip. Do we think it did?
I didn't think it did.
No. I
No.
thought it just landed in front of him. He found the edge again. Guthrie's done so twice. Let's have a look. Just in front of him. And as a result, interestingly, the second, third and fourth have now just taken half a pace forward. To be fair, Safe Sabes did carry and just dropped it. That landed just in front of Kimber at third. Guthrie in again, bowl short and getting out of the way. Tom Bailey finishes up on his backside. He's back on his feet, and another over goes past. 41 for 2. Still 89 overs left in the day. Bailey is 14, Bohannon is 9. And Northamptonshire, as Luke Proctor has a slightly, I don't know, slightly sort of puzzled look at the ball, whether he thinks it's maybe just going out of shape. We've had a couple of those, haven't we, in this game?
Yeah.
But Ben Sanderson doesn't seem too concerned about it. And believe me, if Ben Sanderson's not concerned about it, then I think it's probably all right. Now, if you're watching on Lancs TV, wake up, sir. Mal Loy's going to be on in a minute.
Sanderson to Bohannon, who's playing forward in defence, and there's no run. It's a slightly snoozy Sunday morning, isn't it? 1 or 2 inside the ground today. It was a extra pint of ale last night. It's just taking a bit of time to wear off. 1 or 2, maybe.
It's pleasantly warm out there this morning. It's even the cardigan has come off, which
Blimey,
is,
yes.
I'm going to say, it's amazing scenes.
41 for 2. Bohannon 9. Here's Sanderson. In again to Bohannon. Oh, that's a lovely ball that beats him. Through to McManus. No addition to the to the score. It's a lovely ball from Sanderson. I guess you're going to have to accept when the ball's new and Sanderson's bowling that you're going to get a few of those along the way. Terrific opening spell from Ben Sanderson, which won't come as a huge surprise to anybody. Again over the wicket. It's off the back foot, played away into the offside. Sweeney Fields at backward point. Again, there's no run.
Talking about Mal Lloyd, the last time I actually saw Mal was when I was going out of the BBC Radio Northampton commentary box at Edgbaston on finals day to go down pitch side to do a few interviews, and left Mal up the top with our colleague Graham McKechnie, just talking through the last knockings of the final.
Sanderson to Bohannon. He's in behind and defends to mid-on, and there's no run.
After he and I had talked Northamptonshire through to the trophy.
Happy days.
I wasn't going to mention that, was I? Sorry. I do apologise.
You should mention it, Radders. It's a belting day for Northamptonshire.
It was a very good day.
Third T20 trophy, that?
Third, yeah. 2013, 2016, 2026.
Sanderson from the Statham end. Getting a little bit fuller onto the pads of Bohannon. That's worked out through the onside. Luke Proctor goes across to his right and catches up with the ball. Bohannon gets through for a single. So he moves on to 10. The score moves on to 42 for 2. One ball left of the 19th over of this Lancashire second innings. A couple of chances that have been created. Certainly one drop off an edge off Bailey's bat. Another drop, another chance off the edge which bounced short. And now it would appear that Ben Sanderson's not happy with the ball because he just lobbed it back to his captain. And he's handed it to the umpire, and they're going to have a quick look.
Well, as I say, Luke Proctor didn't seem very happy with it, did he? He was just got it between finger and thumb and viewing it with a degree of distaste, wasn't it? And he just looked as though it was something that had gone into a puddle or something, and he didn't want to get his hands on it. Oh, has it gone through the?
Right,
it's gone through the handcuffs.
Go through the handcuffs, yeah, I think it did. Well, he definitely did, but it kind of took a little bit of persuading to go through.
Well, I'm just wondering if no, I think they've said the gist of that is get on with it.
Crack on.
But we haven't seen Keaton Jennings, who yesterday was entrusted with the box of balls. But he's I don't think that's come out onto the field yet. Josh Bohannon just taking the opportunity to take on board some refreshment.
Yep, towel and a little bit of drink and a change of gloves. One ball left of the over. Bailey's on strike. And Sanderson having to complete it with the ball that he started it with. And to Bailey, gets right forward and defends, and that's played to Chahal at mid-off, and there is no run. 42 for 2 at the end of the 19th over. Bailey's on 14, Bohannon's on 10. We'll bring Mal in for a little chat. You can have a chat with Radders, but come and join me for a little while, Mal, if that's okay. And we'll bring Radders in and you can tell us all about what happened at finals day, because he's not mentioned it. Through half an hour, just over half an hour of this final day. Wicketless so far, so that's a good start for Lancashire. Albeit, as I mentioned, there's been a couple of, well, certainly one chance that was put down by Saif Zabe. One chance that was edged but dropped in front of Louis Kimber at third slip. So they're still on the search for their first breakthrough of this final day. Josh Bohannon's on 10. He's on strike. It will be the left arm of Liam Guthrie from the Sir James Anderson end. And then balls a short ball to Bohannon. Through it goes to the keeper, and there's no run. If you've been across our coverage this previous 3 days, this is all part of kind of a red ball celebration that Lancashire have been putting on this week, and there's been various things taking place, including a kind of reduction in ticket prices, and it's been, I think, £1 for kids and free after tea and that type of thing. And to try and get extra people in and just to try and embrace this red ball fixture. And as part of that, Lancashire invited some former players back. It's defended by Bohannon to mid-on, and there's no runs. We had Dane Villas on day 2. Kyle Hogg was with us yesterday, and indeed went to take part in the Q&A with the members at lunch. And today it is Mal Loy with a foot certainly in both camps, and lovely to have Mal with us. Good morning.
Yes, great to be here. It's brilliant to be here.
Nice to see you.
As a Northampton fan, it's brilliant, and also as a Lancashire fan, not so brilliant, I'm afraid.
Yes, mixed emotions then.
Yeah.
It was Guthrie bowling to Bohannon, that's pushed into the offside, no run.
But I just mentioned earlier downstairs, this was a fixture in 1986 that really got my attention to play cricket. I mean, Radders will tell you more about the game. It was when Patrick Patterson played it against Northampton, Wayne Larkins. I'll never forget it as a 13-year-old. It was the first experience of seeing what fast bowling was all about. And actually, I thought, there's just no way I could play this game at this level. It was fast bowling to this day. I've seen it with Brett Lee at the Wacker, actually, as a spectator in a Shield game.
It's Guthrie from the Anderson end. Bohannon waits, he's in and bowls, and he's left through to McManus.
But I took a day off school, and that morning session, or was it? It might have been a Saturday, so I can't remember, but it was just, it was bowling. I remember Wayne Larkins getting bowled off a no ball with Patrick Patterson, and the stumps just went catapulting back halfway to the boundary. You know, in a few years' time, it would have reached the boundary because obviously stories get exaggerated. But it was my first experience. As I said before, it really got my attention to play this game.
So you obviously before then had an interest and a love for cricket, but did that, as that's left by Bohannon, did that moment really kind of spark the flame for you then?
Yeah, we all like 4s and 6s as batters and one, but I think and spinners that can change games. But for me, to see a fast bowler, a fast bowling spell, and that's why I hear Old Trafford, I think it's always special because, especially when the ground was the other way, round, it had such fast pitches. And for me, as a spectator and a spectacle, it's just fascinating. It's brilliant to watch a fast bowler, and that was my real first introduction to that, Patrick Patterson.
Here is Guthrie to Bohannon. And then left again, just angled across him through to the keeper. Another maiden, 42 for 2. Tight stuff there by Northamptonshire as they try and prize their first wicket of the day. And therefore, to have played here and to have been as successful as you was, I was just going through when you were off air. I didn't want to embarrass you, Mal, so I thought I'd go through your stats while you weren't in the room, as well as some magnificent quotes I found from you as well. But
Go on, you will embarrass me now.
But your record and your runs here over 7 years. I mean, you must have been, from that moment as a kid to playing here, you must have been some kind of proud of what you achieved.
Yeah. It was obviously Northampton. It was my home club, and I had a very, very special time there. I probably had my most biggest success was at Lancashire. I was around about 29, 30 when I joined, and it was just a different challenge, and it took me to another level. I think T20 cricket introduced in 2003 helped my game, certainly in white ball cricket, develop. So the Lancashire fans and supporters and kind of helped each other there with my development there. I truly loved it.
Proctor starts afresh over as he comes into the attack, replacing Sanderson. Starts with a no ball, the Northamptonshire captain.
Also the pitches, we used to glue them back in, and so they got better and better. So as an opening batter with the white ball, it was a dream, especially here.
Yeah, and just give us a little taster of that kind of era. Just your players that you played with and that type of thing. Just take us a little bit down memory lane as Proctor starts again from the Statham end into to Bailey. That's edge, but down into the ground and underneath the fingertips of Safe Zabe and down towards the third man boundary for 4 runs.
Well, it was a big expectation. You know, as a batter, I was replacing Crawley and Fairbrother. Graham Lloyd as well retired, so I came here with a big expectation and a bit of pressure, and I got off to a bit of a flying start. And just with the support and help, I think playing with players like Stuart Law, who was a top player to play with and bat with, Carl Hooper as well at that time. Digger Martin, you know, I always played against, so I was admired as a cricketer, and Glenn Chappell. Muralitharan, crikey. The stories you could talk about all afternoon about that guy. He was something else, not just as a bowler, as that's just gone down the leg side. So Bailey's just clipped that down off leg byes.
Yeah, leg byes, a couple of them.
Brad Hodge, of course, and Andrew Simons. He made a huge impact in 2005 with us. What a cricketer he was to play alongside.
Every time we're broadcasting and doing T20 commentaries, especially T20 commentaries, Ken Graham downstairs will send up some stats about records and quickest runs and most runs and fastest two and that type of thing. I find my default answer, as he quizzes me on these, is Proctor balls to Bailey, who's backing across and defends his no run. The default answer is either you or Stuart Law, because it's either you or Law that seems to be top of most of these lists of most sixes or quickest to so many runs and this, that, and the other.
Crikey! Well, I'm so proud of that because I admired him right up there with the best with Alan Lamb and Wayne Larkins. As good, in fact, he reminded me a lot of Alan Lamb. The way he played, it might have been his Kookaburra bat or something. Just the way he timed the ball, especially on the offside.
Proctor in again, searching for full length delivery. Bailey on the front foot defends down the ground, through for one. He moves to 19, 51 for two.
So for you to say that, I feel 10 feet tall at the moment. It's a bit like, when I used to come down, one thing that really stood a memory coming from the old pavilion end there, and I do think there's something missing. I mean, what a stadium this is, by the way, but there was something special as a player walking down the members, and you had that expectation, and there was a guy called Dave. Remember Dave, who he would literally say to you, and I knew damn right I wasn't the best in the world, but he'd always say, Mal, you're the best player in the world. And psychologically,
as Proctor's in to Bohannon, forward in defence.
Psychologically, for a minute there, you did think you were the best in the world. But the only problem with Dave was he said that to the opposition as well. So we had to have a bit of a team meeting with him. So my memories here were always very, very positive as a player, and you've just brought something up there to even to be related to the same name as Stuart Law, so I feel pretty good at the minute.
Final ball of the over, Proctor over the wicket, defended by Bohannon to mid-on. There's no run. You mentioned it started pretty well. It started with back-to-back centuries, didn't it?
Yeah, it was at the Oval. What a great start, good pitch. I think they were the champions. It was always going to be a big game. Again, expectation from us. We had a full side out, and then here at Old Trafford, my first game here. I broke a rib that game. I remember, I think Chris Cairns was bowling, and I got 100 in that game as well. So it was a good start, but I had a really good pre-season. We went to South Africa, and I was really excited. I really was about a new club and just a new energy, just a different challenge. And and it's nice to start well, and it just helped my game, obviously, going into the white ball stuff as well.
Did you feel a sense of pressure when you first joined and when you first arrived here? You mentioned some of the names that you were in the dressing room with, and obviously those that had gone before you. Did it come with a bit of expectation? Guthrie to Bailey, tucked into the onside, no run.
I could only relate it to when I played at Northamptonshire. Alan Lamb was our captain, and the moment you crossed that line, there was a pressure. There was a pressure and expectation from him, and it was different here. It was more of an expectation from the members, and we were expected to win the championship. And it was the same sort of pressure, and I enjoyed it. It got the best out of me, but one was from an individual, and the other one was from the ground and the expectation of it.
Guthrie comes into Bailey, is on the drive, inside edge, back down the pitch, and gathered by Guthrie, no run.
It was when I look back, it was more of a subconscious thing, whereas you didn't probably at the time realise it. But it was every single game. It felt like you had to win every session here, otherwise the crowd would get onto you. And even though they didn't, you kind of felt that they would. And I remember I had a bad year in 2008 for a number of reasons.
Guthrie to Bailey, and nips back in. He wants the LBW, as indeed do McManus and the slips. Umpire Watts just gently shaking his head, and another LBW shout this morning. Another one off Guthrie's bowling is turned down.
Oh, that's close. I thought it just pitched just outside, but it swung back, didn't it?
Yeah, he's probing away, Guthrie here. A couple of shouts to Bohannon that may have been just bouncing over, but it's an excellent spell this morning. To be 6 over, 3 maidens, just gone for 5 runs, and he's found the edge a couple of times as well. Into Bailey. Well, that's pretty comprehensive. Off stump, uprooted, cartwheeling backwards. Malloy thinking of the time when he was 13 and watching the stumps going backwards. 3 down now, 51 for 3.
Incredible. It's a great ball, wasn't it? Just the ball before, from this angle here, you don't think it's swinging, but just on the screen there, they've got a bit of shine on that ball now, and then they're just getting a little bit of movement back.
Nice. Tails back in, that beats Bailey on the inside edge, and that pretty comprehensively dislodges his off stump.
Similarities to a left arm quick bowler back in the day here, Mr. Akram. Reminded me of there. Swung back nicely, didn't it, for the left armer, Guthrie?
Well, they get themselves a breakthrough, Northamptonshire. It's the night watchman. Hung around for an hour, back end of last night and first thing this morning. And Araf Shetty is a new batter heading out to the middle. 53 for 1 here at Emirates Old Trafford on the BBC Sport website and app, and we're on Lancs TV as well. Former Lancashire and Northamptonshire batter Malloy is the guest today. We've mentioned we've had Dane Villas and we've had Kyle Hogg with us the last couple of days, and he'll be across to have a Q&A at lunch as well, which I'm sure you'll enjoy. Hopefully you'll enjoy. And nice to have a little trip down memory lane. So going, just reflecting back on that, you said you had a difficult season, didn't you?
Yeah, 2008, and you know what? I just felt for the first time that they weren't happy with me. Not just the crowd, but the players as well. There's you felt like that foreigner from Northampton, the coal pack I used to call myself, and it was horrible. So kind of. It's good. I think it's a good thing to have that pressure. It's what professional sport's all about. You have to perform. And going back to the Alan Lamb days at Northampton, when I first got into the side, you just had to win. And obviously with the expectation from not just from the crowd, the club, the captain, but it was from the players. And we create in that time around about 2005-06, in Sussex, won the title a few times just ahead of us.
Shetty's a new batter. Guthrie's in and he defends. No wrong.
Yeah, it's a good start there. The expectation came from the side, and you know what? Just seeing this Northant side this season, the expectation has come initially from the coach, Darren Lehman. You've seen it, but you can see visually now the expectation is coming from within the side. And as a coaching staff and as a coaching group, that's the time you can step back and go, wow, I've done my job here. I've got that started. And now it's that sort of.
Guthrie balls to Shetty, right on the money to Shetty straight away. Punched him head off. End of the over, a wicket maiden for Guthrie's bowled beautifully this morning, 51 for 3.
That sort of pressure and standard of play, when you got it coming from senior players and obviously players coming through as well, that's a bingo moment.
Okay.
And you just can feel that within this Northamptonshire side. And cricket's cricket. They talk about 4-day cricket, white ball cricket, whatever. Cricket's cricket. If you do the basics very, very well, you can adapt. And they're doing it exceptionally well this season.
That's quite interesting, that, because you mentioned about it was the pressure of the club when you arrived here. When you were at Northamptonshire, it was the pressure of Alan Lamb that kind of set the standard. So ideally, you actually want not the expectation to come from the weight of the club, but from the dressing room. That's where you want the pressure to be. That's where you want it to be driven. But
it takes a formidable character to set that off.
Proctor balls, forward goes Bohannon and defends.
And I remember, when Darren Lehman came to the club, I knew he'd make an impact straight away. It's how you continue that is over a period of time, which he's done. But you can't do that. That can't just come from you as an individual, as a coach or a captain. The rest of the side has to follow and buy into what's been tried to be created in terms of the environment. And that could happen. I know Lancashire have had a troubled season, and it's easily. I walked into the ground here and I saw some old friends and stewards, it's all doom and gloom, but it's amazing how quickly things can change. If you just, that one individual to say, right, we're going to grab this, and that sort of positivity can spread. And it's just having the bravery to set in the culture and the environment, it can quickly change.
Proctor balls, it's a short ball to Bohannon. He ducks underneath that. And taken by McManus, and there's no run. He's on 10, Josh Bohannon. That 2008 season you mentioned, it was the end of the following season you left, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I had a couple of injuries, but I had a good finish, had a good end, and I went back to Northampton. I wanted to finish with my old club. There was one or two players that were coming through. Your Carl Browns,
Proctor's in and balls, and I saw an LBW a shout. He really likes it.
Maybe a bit high.
Been a couple of those to Bohannon this morning that may well have been a bit high. That have been to Bohannon's good fortune.
Yeah, and Stephen Croft was coming through as well. So I didn't want to be one of those old players that was just hanging around and blocking someone's pathway. And Northants had they needed a senior player, needed a senior batter. So I thought, you know what, I'll finish it well here. And I went back for a couple of years. So it's I probably didn't get the runs I wanted, but I was just too old.
Proctor to Bohannon. Well, that's a beauty. so terrific celebration from Luke Proctor. Lancashire 4 down. That's probably the wicket that they crave the most. Lancashire's number 3 and captain in this game. He's been bowled by Luke Proctor for 10, and Lancashire are 51 for 4. And I think he enjoyed that, the former Lancashire player and Northamptonshire skipper. And Bohannon having to make his way back, and after a frustrating half an hour or so, back-to-back wickets.
Oh, it just held, didn't it? Just held, hit the top of off. It's the perfect ball, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Just squared Bohannon up. Oh my God, that is a fantastic delivery.
Oh, so I quite like the celebration.
The confidence in the bowl and the player all comes from the finals days. Finals day ain't been mentioned at all.
I'm going to get off commentary in a minute and you can chat to Radders all about it. But I wanted to end with, do you know how many runs you got for, like, I asked Villas and Hogg, well, not Hogg, his runs, his wickets, but I asked them too about this. Are you good with your stats?
No.
No, don't look at that screen. Are you good with your stats?
I'm definitely not good with my eyes. I wouldn't have seen that.
Well, you've 7 seasons at Old Trafford. I found an article from 2009 when you went back to Northamptonshire. 7 seasons at Old Trafford, 10,603 runs during your time here at Lancashire. Can I read you a quote from Mike Watkinson?
Go on then.
I'm not going to do the voice, but you can imagine. It became apparent that irrespective of the terms of our contract offered to Mal, his decision to move on had been made. And then he goes on to say, Mal has made a great contributions for Lancashire both on and off the field, and I wish him well for the years ahead. Quite like that. 1 ball after the over. I'll see this through, and then you can wax lyrical with Radders for a bit. It's Flintoff, the new batter, and it's Proctor who's in and bowls. And Flintoff plays nicely on the front foot in defence. End of the over. Some thoughts on where we're at, Mal, and then Andrew Rudd will come and join you.
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing Rocky Flintoff. It's the first time I've seen him live, and he started with a solid 4 defence against the impressive Proctor, who's confident with the ball. As I was saying, Radders, finals day, he had an indifferent start to finals day with his first over. I think he went for 28.
28, yeah.
Yes.
Will Smead took after him in the semi-final against Somerset, and he then came back to bowl the 19th over, went for 2 and picked up a wicket, and helped Northamptonshire just to wrap up the final. That was the last time you and I sat next to each other, wasn't it?
Should we just do it again? Rehearse that celebration. Should punch the air?
I'm sorry, I went a bit over the top, didn't I? Here's Guthrie in bowls, and Shetty plays it out to mid-wicket, and there is no run. Yeah, it was a notable day, but it was very interesting listening to what you were just saying to Scott about the whole business of the difference that coaches can make and at what point they feel that they've achieved something in getting the players to buy into it. And I mean, you and I sat next to each other a lot this year watching a lot of Northamptonshire T20 matches, and it does seem as though it is the group of players now buying into the whole sort of the Lehman philosophy. We'll come back to that after this ball. Here's Guthrie. Left arm over the wicket, bowls to Shetty, and again he's in line, playing it out to mid-wicket, no run.
I was thinking, I said it to you, Val, is I remember he first joined, and with the modern day player especially, I thought, crikey, be careful what you're saying here, mate. Because it was basically said there's a consequence. If you do not perform, you're gone. And this is the standard. This is the standard set, and that's it. That's the line. And I thought, well, you know what? You have to have a lot of confidence and the backing. Not only that, from your chairman.
Yeah,
I think that was key, and your board to say you're in charge here.
Guthrie in again to bowl to Shetty, who forces nicely off the back foot. Runs for him here. His first runs. It goes out through point, and they'll jog back for a couple. Fielded there by Nathan McSweeney. So Shetty is underway, and Lancashire 53 for 4.
And I remember Mickey Arthur saying to me, players, especially senior players, sometimes don't know what's good for them. And it's amazing, even the guys towards the end of their career, how much you can push and get more out of them. And that kind of performance and effort and standard and skill, it spreads. And then suddenly the players think, crikey, this is good, this winning thing and performing thing and this energy. And then it goes and it grows and grows and grows. And it comes from that statement.
Guthrie goes short, and Shetty ducks underneath it through to McManus. Well, yes, and I mean, you and I had the opportunity on BBC Radio Northampton's cricket show to have an hour with Northamptonshire's relatively new chairman, Gary Hoffman, and we had the chance to have a chat with him, and he certainly was prepared to give as much, I think, as much responsibility for the cricketing side of it as was necessary to Darren Lehman. He seemed to have the full backing of the chairman of the board, as you mentioned, judging by the conversation we had. Here's Guthrie in again, bowls, and Shetty, nice looking drive up to mid-on, but can't get it past Luke Proctor, no run.
What stood out for me in that interview, that session we had with him, was that he was very confident of what he knew and what he didn't know, and was very clear on that, and that will spread as well. And Mr. Lehman will know that, and so he's been given that. Obviously, he's got the experience as well, and the background, not just as a coach but as a player as well. It's a great head start, but you've got to have that backing from the board as well.
Here's Guthrie in and bowls, and on the full, driven like a shell by Arav Shetty, but rather unluckily for him, just picked out the one fielder in front of square on the offside. And as a result, there's no run. 53 for 4 at the end of the over. Yeah, it's obviously, very, very important. And I think one of the things that a lot of people have asked me this year, what's been the difference with Northamptonshire? What sort of difference has Darren Lehman made for me? And you will know this much more from being inside dressing room and talking to players. I think the excuse culture, I think there was perhaps a little bit of that knocking around. I'm sure Northamptonshire not unique in that respect, but I think Darren Lehman is less prepared to accept excuses. We'll see if you go along with that after this ball from Luke Proctor. Short, he's gone for the hook. Rocky Flintoff, well, he took it on, and it's gone off a top edge over second slip for 4 to open his account. But that could have gone pretty much anywhere. 57 for 4. It was a short ball just around about the line of off stump. Took it on. Top edge down to the boundary in front of the point for 4. 57 for 4.
It was a good bounce, wasn't it?
Well, he's like Ben Sanderson in that he uses the bouncer sparingly, and as such it does have a sort of surprise value. Just watch this next ball from Proctor. Still 4 slips in as he's in and bowls full to Flintoff, who plays back down the pitch. But the whole business of players wanting to find reasons not to succeed, it seems as though Darren Lehman has stamped that out.
Yeah, when you're looking forward as a player, suddenly you forget about those excuses and the finger pointing because you're too busy. Honestly, and those around you as well. It's
Proctor in bowls to Flintoff, drives up to mid-off, no run.
That's a good defence, isn't it?
Very solid.
Yeah. I'm excited to see him. It's the first time. I remember when he was born, Radders. Crikey. I remember the day. I was over in that dressing room over there. And what was his name? Rocky. I said, seriously? And I remember watching the Rocky film with Fred in 2007 in one of those in Australia. So he was obsessed. I remember him being obsessed with Rocky.
Here's Proctor in bowls, and Flintoff clips that away down behind square on the leg side. He's going to get a single down to Liam Guthrie, who's now patrolling the boundary down in front of the hotel. One more to Flintoff. He goes to 5, 58 for 4.
Well, the one thing that stood out for me, especially with the white ball, so with Northampton, the culture of their fielding. And that is so important. That kind of sets the culture, I think, for their other skills and facets of the game. And it's as good as I've seen in any first class cricket. It's been outstanding all year, and it's an attitude, and that attitude, as like I said, it does spread onto all other forms.
Proctor in bowls, and again from Shetty, lovely straight bat showing the maker's name, drives it back. Proctor fields off his own bowling, and there's no run. Have you seen much of Arav Shetty? Because he impressed me in the first innings, made 37 and played half a dozen absolutely top draw strokes. Looks a very, very talented player, and also outstanding in the field. Bowls off spin as well. A little bowl yesterday. Proctor running into bowl to him. Shetty punches it out, and it's half stopped at extra cover. Recovered quickly by Nathan McSweeney, and they come through for a single. 59 for 4. Shetty goes to 3, and that's the end of the over. So we've had just about an hour's play this morning, and Northamptonshire nipped out a couple of wickets. Behannon and Bailey, the night watchman, both out. The 2 overnight batters both out, and now down to Arav Shetty and Rocky Flintoff to try and boost Lancashire and bat through to lunch. Yeah, that game you were talking about, the 1986 one, Mal, I remember it. I mean, I was covering it. And I remember the game very well for its last sort of 20 minutes or so, because Northamptonshire got a big total. I mean, I'm doing this without access to the scores. I think Jeff Cook got a big 100, and Robin Boyd Moss got a big 100 as well. And they put on a lot of runs for the second wicket. And in the second innings, Northamptonshire only needed about 30 to win, something like that. Here's Ben Sanderson back in the attack. No ball called. That one just bounced a little bit on Shetty. And we were saying yesterday, in talking to some of the players as well last night, there's just been a little bit of erratic bounce, a little bit of up and down at that far end and the
cracks.
Sir James Anderson end.
It looks like there might be a few cracks along that pitch. I mean, it slabs up. I mean, the pitch itself is absolutely unbelievable. It's a great pitch to play on as a batter.
That's a Kerrigan expression, slabbed up. I've heard him use that one, Simon Kerrigan. once again of both these counties. Here's Sanderson in and bowls to Shetty. Lovely looking force off the back foot, and that's going to run away, I think, for 4. Running out towards the hotel extension. Beats Chase out there, and Shetty goes to 7, and Lancashire to 65 for 4. Nice looking shot. And they needed 30 odd to win, but it seemed as though Patrick Patterson was determined to take somebody with him.
Right.
And he absolutely steamed in. It was one of the quickest spells I've ever seen, and fast and nasty as well. It was flying around the batter's ears, and Wayne Larkins, as he often did, said, "That's okay, I'll take it on." And he was uppercutting it, and the ball was flying everywhere. And the memory I have was having the binoculars on and watching the non-strikers end where Jeff Cook was leaning on his bat, chuckling to himself as having the best seat in the house. As Larkins took on probably at that time one of the fastest bowlers in the world, if not the fastest. And it was a thrill. And Northamptonshire won by 10 wickets, and it was a thrilling little sort of 20 minutes of cricket. Sun with this as Sanderson is in, bowls to Shetty, and that's an inside edge. It's running down towards deep fine leg. Chahal is in pursuit. He will pull it in inside the boundary, and they come back for a slightly fortuitous 2. Shetty to 9, 67 for 4 Lancashire.
Well, I did hear about that back end of the game, but it was the first hour or so, because the pitch was that far side near the scoreboard, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah.
And I remember feeling very close to the action as a 13-year-old. You felt it. It was, I know we're going on about it, but this guy, Patrick Patterson, was something else. He really was.
He was, well, he was frightening, wasn't he? He was
Yeah.
frightening to watch.
Yeah.
Frightening to bat against. 3 slips and a gully as Sanderson is in bowls to Shetty outside the off stump, left alone. Another no ball, second of the over. 69 for 4.
And I decided as a 11, 12-year-old, I don't know, I just wanted to be a professional cricketer. And I remember after that game, or that hour or so, I thought, I'm not going to be at that level. I really don't think I could face that sort of stuff. And so I was a bit dishevelled, actually, if I'm being honest with you. But the next time I saw fast bowling like it, and after this ball from Sanderson.
Sanderson in and bowls, and Shetty defends out into the covers, no run.
I spoke with Mike Hussey about it, and it was I went up to the Wacker, and it was a Western Australia were playing against New South Wales, and it was before his debut, Brett Lee, on a Wacker pitch. And remember, Northants could have a very quick pitch as well. The odd pitch was as quick as they come. It reminded me of, I mean, I was a lot older then, but it was it's why you watch the game, and that's the most exciting when you watch a fast ball. Finals day with the young lad from Hampshire.
Yeah, Sonny Baker. Absolutely.
You know what? I remember we were on the comms together. It was just brilliant to watch. Fast bowling like that.
It certainly was. 5 wickets in the final. Here's Sanderson in bowls and driven up past mid-off. Well, not past mid-off in the end, because it's a very good tumbling stop there to keep it to a single by Nathan McSweeney, who, as so often this season, sets the standard in terms of the Northamptonshire fielding. Just a single, 70 for 4. Shetty goes into double figures, 10 to him. Yes, I mean, it's Sonny Baker looks a real prospect. He's, I mean, his experience that evening sums up this great game and why we love it so much, because he took 5 wickets and was absolutely on top of the world as far as his bowling was concerned. Sanderson is in bowls to Flintoff, and Flintoff again, that very broad bat and very solid in defence, plays it back down the pitch and there's no run. But he then had a bit of a nightmare in the field, and basically 3 misfields cost 12 runs, and in a tight game, which it was. Then,
but it also really backed up. We talk about Wayne Larkin, Vasconcelos, who played him brilliantly, and Darren Lehman, who backed. He said this guy's as good as playing fast bowling as he's seen, and it was, it's great when you got that competition between the two. It was. I think they're gonna have a look at the ball here again.
Well, they've already changed. They've already changed it once, and they're going to have another look at it. Luke Proctor very early on in the piece this morning wasn't happy with the ball, but they're going to have another look at it. Yeah, I mean it was. And you talk about Wayne Larkins in terms of fast bowling. I mean he was ahead of his time in the sense that I mean he was the prototype Baz bowler, wasn't he? Really, when it came to taking on the quicks. But yeah, we had Darren Lehman up yesterday, and he was saying again about Ricardo Vasconcelos, and saying that he's one of the best players of high pace.
Yeah,
he thinks on the circuit at the moment.
Well, after the facing Baker, he backed it up. He played him beautifully that day. It was, which makes he just disappoint. Going into the one-day competition after that. I know we're talking about Northamptonshire now, but I really expected him to kick on and get 500 runs, especially after seeing him that sort of form. But he didn't quite. As a senior player, he did okay. Did he just do okay?
He did okay, yeah. He missed a couple of games because he got a bit of a tight calf, and they were just absolutely mindful of the fact that they would need him of the last 6 championship matches. And obviously they were keen to have a look at, as I'm sure a lot of counties were keen to have a look at 1 or 2 different players. But he's still, we were doing the stats yesterday, I mean, he's still made something like 1,200 runs across all formats this year. Not quite as many as Nathan McSweeney for Northamptonshire, but I mean, were they to win today, Northamptonshire, and obviously there's a lot of work still to do, still got 6 wickets to take, but were they to win today, it would be their 19th win across all formats of the season, and that would make it best by that measure in terms of all format victories since 2013, when they won the Blast and were promoted in that year. So
it's Copeland. He played, didn't he?
Trent Copeland, yeah, that's right.
He played that year.
It's magnificent.
He was a good bowler.
Well, he's a terrific signing. He played those early season matches in the Championship, and I mean, conditions were absolutely tailor-made for him.
Yeah.
and he got a lot of wickets, and he also made runs. And I remember seeing him against Essex, him and Stephen Crook, putting on over 100 for the last wicket, which was quite entertaining. Here's Sanderson in and bowls to Flintoff. Just nips it away down to long leg where Chahal fields. And they pick up a single. Flintoff is 6, 71 for 4. Be interesting, Mal, to see, and I'm sure it won't be too far into the future, to see Rocky Flintoff facing Yuzi Chahal. I think that will be a very interesting little duel, assuming he's still in when Chahal comes on, and I think it won't be too long before he is on.
Did it turn yesterday?
A little bit. Didn't do a vast amount, but
is it slabbing up, as Simon Kerrigan used to say? Gary Keeley. Oh God, it's slabbing. You know what? It always turned the first session here at Old Trafford because of the moisture.
Yeah, right.
And then it gradually didn't. It was because you expect Old Trafford to turn. And,
well, now, for Flintoff, they've now got a silly mid-on, just in the eye line, and he drives that first ball from Proctor through mid-off for 4. Despairing dive by Nathan McSweeney. And he's hit that very, very hard. 75 for 4.
Yeah, beautiful shot, wasn't it? And mannerism, crikey, just like his dad.
Yeah. It's been one or two people have, just during this match, have said exactly the same thing. We saw him, I think, place Ben Sanderson a couple of years ago when he was playing one of his early Metrobank Cup matches, I think, and it was a fascinating little battle between the young Tyro and the sort of old Salt, and it was on as more or less even, I think, on that occasion. But he's such a clean striker of the ball. I don't know if you've seen Joe Moores as well, who's due in next. He played that extraordinary innings at Northampton in the Metrobank Cup this year, 85 or 59. Here's Proctor in bowls to Flintoff, who defends this time up to mid-off, no run.
I've seen clippets of him on Instagram, actually. I'm into that now, Radders.
I know you are.
Yeah,
I know.
Still not that Facebook business or anything like that, but so I've seen clippets of it, and I don't know whether he's a left-hander or a right-hander. I can't make my mind up what he is. It's incredible, the shots he plays. What a player and what a prospect he looks.
What an amazing innings at Wantage Road. As appeal for LBW, more interest from behind. Proctor wasn't really that enthused, I don't think. It looked as though it was probably going down the leg side, and I think that's what the umpire felt, so not out. Yes, I mean, it was a remarkable innings, and we were saying, actually, when we were talking about him in the first innings, that you talk about people playing every shot in the book. Well, I've never seen a book with some of those shots in. Here's Proctor in, bowls and clipped away down to long leg for a single down to Guthrie in front of the hotel. At long leg, one more to Flintoff. He goes to 11, 76 for 4, Lancashire.
I'd be interested to obviously see how he plays in the 4-day stuff, the red ball stuff, the movement of the ball. And like I said to you before, cricket's cricket, but generally when you have the basics of the game, which is red ball, and then you expand onto the white ball, it's very difficult to go the other way, and where your direction and your focus is, I suppose. So it'd be fascinating to see how he develops here in the red ball stuff.
Well, now they're bringing in a short extra cover, so they've got short extra cover on the drive, short mid-wicket on the drive, 3 slips in. Proctor in and bowls to Shetty, who turns it away down to long leg, and he's going to pick up a single in turn. Down to Guthrie, one more to Arav Shetty, who goes to 11, as is Rocky Flintoff and Lancashire. 77 for 4, having lost 2 wickets this morning. Night watchman Tom Bailey bowled by Guthrie for 19, that was 51 for 3. And Josh Bohannon bowled by a beauty from Luke Proctor for 10, that made it 51 for 4. It's now 77 for 4. I must ask you, and we touched on this before you came in, because I think it's a lovely story as Proctor starts to run in and then realises that Rocky Flintoff isn't ready, so he's going to go back and reload. You were saying about when you went back to Northamptonshire after his spell here at Lancashire in 2011, it finished for you at Northampton, and the story of you going in to see David Capel, who was then head coach. It's such a wonderful tale. We'll come on to that in a second. Here's Proctor in bowls, full and driven powerfully by Flintoff and very well stopped off his own bowling by Proctor. End of the over, 77 for 4.
Yeah, I mean, I was coming to the end really, but I had a bit of a flourish. I hit a couple of hundreds, and then one against India as well. I thought, you know what, I'm not done here. But I got the call, and I was in the gym, and Capes loves all that. He says, Mala, where are you? I says, I'm in the gym, mate. And he kind of big long pause. He says, can you come in, please? And he sat me down, and he was there with Nigel Farr, and he just says, look, I've got some news for you. And he started breaking down, and he started to cry. I says, Capes, what? He says, Mal, I'm going to have to let you go, mate. And I said, Capes, I'm the one that meant to be crying.
Oh, we miss him. We miss Cape so much, taken far too soon. Here's Sanderson in outside the off stump, and a leave with a flourish from Arav Shetty as he lets that go outside the off stump, taken by McManus. Yeah, I mean he was just the ultimate. So passionate about Northamptonshire cricket was Capes, and
no, it meant a lot to me that he was so gutted. Actually, when I think about
well, two Northampton boys together, but no, he's just a wonderful, wonderful personality, David Capel. It's just so characteristic. It's a great story. Here's Sanderson in and bowls. Big appeal for LBW and out. Oh, yeah. And I think, to be fair to Arav Shetty, he's now had probably the two best balls that Sanderson has bowled in this game. Very similar in the first innings. One that just nipped back, didn't maybe bounce a great deal. I suppose if you were finding fault, we'll get Mal's view on this, that he perhaps didn't, just got a little bit caught on the crease, but he's gone LBW to Sanderson for 11 and Lancashire 77 for 5. Sanderson knew he got him, didn't he?
Yeah, you could sense there's been a couple of balls that have popped up a little bit, but that's just kept a little bit low and maybe nipped back. But you know what, as a bowler like Sanderson, I was talking to someone earlier yesterday, I think the director of cricket here, Mark Chilton, he says he's always in the mix. He's like an Angus Fraser. He's always giving himself a chance in the right areas.
Yeah, it hasn't bounced a great deal, has it?
But it's still a great area.
Yeah.
I thought it kept low, but it's just good areas. And technically, maybe, you're right, Rad, he's probably caught in the crease a bit.
But he's had, as I say, I feel a bit for Arav Shetty because he's obviously an enormously talented young man, and he's had two balls from Sanderson, one in the first innings, which I don't think he could have done a lot with, to be honest. He was LBW for 37, so not dissimilar dismissal than that one again. I don't think there was a huge amount he could do. But it's given Northamptonshire a timely little boost with about 3/4 of an hour to go until lunch. 77 for 5. Sanderson having picked up 4 wickets in the first innings. There's a couple in this one. So he goes past 660 all format wickets for Northamptonshire. Closing in on Peter Willey, who's next ahead of him in the all-time list. I'm sure Will wish him well. George Grimshaw, not playing in this game, is doing 12-man duties. Sanderson then to bowl to Joe Moores, who we were talking about just a moment or two ago. 4 slips in place. Sanderson round the wicket to him and nicely in behind that. Plays it out to mid-wicket and there is no run. Louis Kimber still on the field this morning for James Sales, who just went over on his ankle yesterday in warm-up. Got one of those protective boots on this morning, I did notice, but they obviously want to try and make sure he's fit for the next game against Kent.
It's not football, was it?
No, it wasn't football. No, he was just having a...
It's been banned now, isn't it? Football?
Well, they're playing sort of like a volleyball type game now, as Sanderson is in. Bowls to Moores and puts it past the outside edge. Another beauty from Sanderson. Yes, it's like the Northamptonshire players anyway, playing like a sort of version of football volleyball. They lay out the court. And we were saying actually yesterday on commentary, some of the players who are fairly sort of quiet and reserved. George Bartlett is a case in point. He's very, very quiet chap, but he gets terribly animated at this. He goes full blown Maradona when he's in that particular game. But
there's always one. There's always one.
It's always the quiet ones. Here's Sanderson round the wicket, bowls to Moores, and Moores defends up to extra cover.
It was a guy, Gareth Cross, who was a wicket keeper here, and obviously the football. And I remember Peter Moores actually he had to put a ban on it because he just couldn't play the game as as a warm up. It was like an FA Cup final, and and he's just an absolute lunatic. And he just said across it. And that was it. That's the game. So he ruined it for everybody. And on that note, I'm going to leave here. I'm going to go over to the members, I think.
Here's Sanderson round the wicket to Joe Moores, who defends again out into the offside, but a successful over for Sanderson. 12 overs, 5 maidens, 2 for 32. Lancashire 77 for 5. Rocky Flintoff is 11. Joe Moores yet to get off the mark. Mal, thanks so much. Good
Cheers,
to
guys.
see you, and have a thoroughly enjoyable
Thank you.
grilling at the hands of the Lancashire members. Thanks, old boy. So we'll just do a little bit of musical chairs and get ourselves back to where we need to be. But great to have Mal with us, as indeed we had our other guests, Dane Villas and Kyle Hogg, up with us in the game so far. And the Lancashire members over the far side, as you will have heard, are in for a bit of a treat. As far as the game here is concerned, Luke Proctor will continue from the Brian Statham end, having produced a beauty to dismiss Josh Bohannon this morning. 77 for 5. Proctor, 4 overs, 1 for 19. We were saying first thing this morning, it would mean a lot to him if Northamptonshire do get over the line here. He'd be very, very keen to join the fairly elite group of Northamptonshire captains who have won a championship match here. There's only 4 of them. Here's Proctor into bowl to Rocky Flintoff, who's taken on the short ball. It's in the air. He should be caught at deep backward square. He is caught. And they baited the trap. And I'm afraid from Rocky Flintoff's point of view, he's just fallen into it, presenting Safe Zabe with the simplest of catches down at deep backward square, about 10 yards in from the boundary. And Flintoff goes for 11. And, well, we said yesterday, Luke Proctor, pretty much everything he touched yesterday turned to gold, and it was not subtle. They got 2 men back, but he took on the short ball. It was just bouncing a little bit too high for him to control. And Safe Zabe just behind on the leg side takes the catch. Flintoff goes for 11 off 13 balls. And Lancashire are 77 for 6. And Northamptonshire will feel that they've got maybe just one hand on the points, still work to do, but quite sad to see that, Scott.
It is. It's obviously continued to be a Northamptonshire story, and they're hammering on where there's been a sizable gulf between the two sides, in truth, but it's making for rather bleak viewing from a Lancashire point of view, and not, I'm sure, not very pleasant for some of the younger players. And you have to feel a little bit, and Stephen Croft mentioned this in an interview last night, that it is tough, isn't it, when you're asking Shetty and Flintoff and Moores to come into a team that's not winning, and come into a team that's struggling and has struggled for a couple of years now. It is not an easy task, is it, for these younger Lancashire players? But look, this is about Northamptonshire at the minute, because they're 4 away from a first win here for the thick end of 30 years, and it will be thoroughly deserved. They've been by far the better team.
Here's Proctor then to continue, bowling his first ball to the new batter, George Balderson, and Balderson is forward, goes off the inner portion of the bat down to deep fine leg. Guthrie in off the boundary to field, and George Balderson is off the mark, 78 for 6. Great fun to have Al Loy in with us.
He's superb.
He really is, and so he's certainly enlivened our coverage of the T20 this year. It's been great fun.
Yeah, I think we've had 3 really belting guests there, haven't we, this week, with Dane
terrific.
and Kyle and now Mal.
And Kate, of course. Kate Cross we had with us, and a bit Darren Lehman as well. Here's Proctor in, bowls, edged, and has that gone down? I think it may just have bounced in front of Louis Kimber at third slip, but he found the edge.
It did. Quickly, didn't it, to Kimber?
They're not looking particularly crestfallen. Let's have a little look. I think it might just have. I think it did actually. Just about carried.
I think it carried, yeah.
Just about.
Tough chance, isn't it? Low down, kind of barely kind of shin high. It's almost ankle height, wasn't it, to Kimber?
It's interesting to say Northampton's catching hasn't been flawless in this game by any means, as that next ball to Moores is turned away for his first run out to deep mid-wicket. So both the batters on 179 for 6. Yes, if Northamptonshire had actually held their catches, probably on the M6 by now, but they put down a couple in the first innings, a couple in this one. Be fair to Louis Kimber, he's held 3 very good ones.
He did, yeah.
So percentage. Haven't seen any spin this morning so far. It's the seamers that have done the work and done the damage. Is Proctor in bowls and Balderson defends out into the offside, where McSweeney fields and there's no run. George Bartlett still there with his shin pads on in the covers. It was actually George Bartlett I was talking to on the lift on the way down this morning, and he said about, has it really been 27 years?
Oh, right, okay.
And, yes, George, it has. 79 for 6, 1 ball to go in the over. No, I've thoroughly enjoyed the chats we've had up here. Been great fun, and some terrific stories. Here's Proctor in bowls and puts that past the outside edge of George Balderson's bat. End of the over. 79 for 6, 1 apiece to Joe Moores and George Balderson. We've got about 35 minutes to go till lunch.
Yes, there's no 1 lunch today, is there? It's bang on 1 o'clock on this final day.
All right, on cue. Having said we haven't had any spin, we're going to have some spin. Is that Sir Clive?
It is.
Sir Clive Lloyd. My goodness, what a player. President here now, of course. I remember watching him on, well, a couple of times on telly as a kid when he got 100 for Lancashire. I think it was in the 72 Gillette Cup final against Warwickshire. And then, of course, that astonishing innings in the World Cup final, the first World Cup final at Lord's in 1975 against the West Indies against Australia. That great line of John Arlett's, wasn't it? The stroke of a man knocking a thistle top off with a walking stick. No trouble at all. Let's hear him saying it. And this wonderful little pick-up by Sir Clive over mid-wicket for 4 or even 6. What a player.
Here is Chahal for the first time. I think he got Moores, didn't he, in the first innings?
Did.
It's clipped away off the pads out towards square leg for a single. 84-6. Brings Balderson on strike. Slip on the short leg. $80 for 6, Lancashire in their second innings. Chahal's leg spin from the Anderson end, but Balderson going back, turns the ball into the onside, fielded at mid-wicket.
Good morning to Paul. Very nice to have you with us as usual, saying nice to hear the dulcet tones of Mal Loy, absolutely.
He's always got a good story, hasn't he, Mal?
He has.
Going back and defending. Just drops it away to backward point. In addition to the score.
And it makes me very old to think that I played against his dad, his late father, Pat. Lovely man.
Chahal loops one up to Balderson. Dabs it away. Bartlett comes around from short leg to field. Calvin Harrison doing a few stretching exercises too, so maybe a little bit of double spin before lunch. Here he is, Harrison, fielding this ball. Just tickled away off the pads by Balderson. In addition to the score. 80 for 6, 1 ball remaining of the over. Balderson and Moores together. Another session won by Northamptonshire. Going back to that delivery from Chahal, and the ball goes past the edge of Balderson's bat. Nice start. He's right on the money, isn't he, Chahal? You don't really get a loosener or two, do you, from him? End of the over. 80 for 6, 30 gone.
Yeah, Sir Clive Lloyd. I actually think wonderful that Lancashire have got someone of that stature there as club president. I think it's fantastic, and I'm sure such a great ambassador for Lancashire wherever he goes. James Sales having a walk around the boundary with the protective boot on. Obviously not able to take any part in this match since yesterday morning when he went over on his ankle. Here's Proctor in bowls, and Moores trying to force off the back foot, goes over the top of the bat into the gloves of McManus. But obviously Northamptonshire have been reluctant to sub him out of the game because, of course, that would mean that he wouldn't be able to play in the next match starting on Thursday at Wantage Road against Kent. The consensus seems to be, and we heard Darren Lehman talking about it yesterday, the injury perhaps isn't quite as bad as first thought. Is Proctor outside the off stump, left alone by Moores. And I always have a slightly sceptical view of those sort of protective boots, in that Chris Lynn boarded the bus wearing one of those in going up to Edgbaston for finals day the day before, and played in both matches without any apparent ill effect. So there you go. Here's Proctor in round the wicket again, bowls to Moores, and Moores gets a ball of good length, which he plays back down the pitch. Proctor fields, and there's no run, but they've obviously dispatched Junior Jumble down to do the coffee run by the look of it.
Doesn't it? Yeah,
it does.
Lad's recovering from a dodgy ankle. He's got his protective boot on. Go and get the
Go
coffees
and
in.
get the coffees.
Probably got his feet up trying to rest.
There's nobody else around, is there? Here's Proctor. In and bowls outside the off stump, left alone by Joe Moores. Oh, these two just really need to see Lancashire through to lunch and just a chance to regroup a little bit.
Yes, yeah. There's been plenty of damage done in this morning session by Northamptonshire.
After a first half hour when nothing much happened at all. Well, nothing really happened at all. Here's Proctor in and bowls, and he has a little fiddle at that, Joe Moores, but I think in the end he just pulled his bat inside the line as it moved away into the gloves of Lewis McManus. Northamptonshire able to obviously keep attacking fields. I think a Lancashire victory now fairly unlikely. So they're able to keep the four slips in. Vasconcelos, Harrison, Kimber and Zabe. Bartlett at backward point. Proctor in bowls, and decent carry from the Northamptonshire captain, who you sense is thoroughly enjoying himself in this game. 80 for 6 at the end of the over. Moores is 2, Balderson is 1. It's funny actually, Scott, when I went down last night to do the post-match stuff, Luke was just standing on the balcony on his own, just looking over the ground, and he said if we can get a couple soon early tomorrow morning, I don't think they'll be able to live with us, I think was his comment. Well, still a bit to do, but they've had a decent morning, and he obviously having a part in that with picking up a couple of wickets himself.
Well, there's no respite, is there?
No.
I mean, Sanderson speaks for himself because we know what he's about, and he's done it for years now. It's Chahal's in and bowling. Guthrie. Sorry, Balderson defends, but I'm about to talk about Guthrie was outstanding this morning, as he was indeed in the first innings.
He's had his, I would say, his best game for Northamptonshire, to be honest. He really has been very, very good because he's been consistent.
Looped up again by Chahal. Forward and defence from Balderson. Then you got Proctor, who just bowls wicket to wicket and can nibble the ball about and bowled a beauty to Bohannon. We're not seen Harrison. At the minute, they only need to use the one leg spinner. It's defended again. No ball, just overstepped as Chahal. So it's been a display of bowling in which there's been no get out at all.
And they've been a bowler down because James Sales hasn't been able to bowl. Who probably would have had a few overs at least.
And again, whipped into the onside by Balderson, and there's no run. And they scrapped a score in the first innings. They were 90 for 5, and they scrapped to a score which has been, well, in the context of the whole game, was a fabulous first innings. Obviously, the second innings takes it away from legs. Driven away into the offside by Balderson, and there's no run. But it's interesting that Proctor used that description, that a couple early and they don't think they can live with us, and that's been the case. 82 for 6. Still 4 to get, of course, as Chahal is in to Balderson. Back and defending, just drops it into the onside, and there's no run. Gathered by Calvin Harrison.
Wonder he'll get the, if Northamptonshire do win, he'll get the celebratory haircut from the captain. Won't be me, that's for sure.
Chahal to Balderson. That is flatter and quicker, and it's whipped into the onside. It had George Bartlett's life flashing before his eyes, but he's managed to get, I think, out of the way of it. I don't know if it brushed him or not, but oh, maybe it did with the way he's picked himself up. But no damage done to Bartlett.
He felt the breeze of it, I think, go past his ear hole. Let's have a look on the. Oh my goodness!
I think it did hit him, didn't it?
Yeah, I think it did. Just clip the shoulder, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's all right. Breed him tough at Millfield.
End of the over, 82 for 6.
As far as the games elsewhere are concerned, down at Southampton, Hampshire 153 for 6 against Yorkshire. Still need another 125 to win there. As Proctor starts afresh, over edged and bounces just in front of Vasconcelos at first slip. Taken on the half volley, but Proctor again finding the edge of Joe Moore's bat. I say that confidently that it landed in front of Vasconcelos. Yes, it did. At Grace Road, there's a bit left in this one. Glamorgan needing 257 to win against Leicestershire, 192 for 7. They need another 65 to win. Here's Proctor in, bowls and goes past the outside edge of Joe Moore's again. This is really good stuff from Luke Proctor, warming to his task, as they say. Kieran Carlson out for 99, but Chris Cook, who announced his retirement at the end of the season recently, is still there. 21 not out. Essex have just fallen away a bit down at Taunton after that broken partnership between Charlie Allison, who made 114, and Matt Critchley, who made 94. His Proctor in, bowls, and chopped down onto the stumps. Now, what's happened here?
No.
They think they've got him out. Has the bail just popped out? It was Joe Moore's played a ball from Proctor down towards his stumps. Now, Northamptonshire, it's bounced up. He's picked it up.
I don't think you can do that, can you?
No, you can't do that. I'm afraid that's out.
You cannot do that, no.
That, I fear, is obstructing the field.
It is, yep.
That's an awful way to go. That was all it could be, because he chopped the ball down into the ground. It bounced up. Whether it would have hit the stumps, I'm not sure. But he put his hand out and stopped it and actually caught the ball in his glove. And Luke Proctor turned to the umpire. And unfortunately, and that's an unsatisfactory way to go, but it was also a slightly, how should he put it, it's a piece of cricket that maybe with a bit more experience he wouldn't do.
Yeah, that's a tough one for young Joe Moores, and he's taken quite a bit of time to trudge off, which is understandable. But Northamptonshire knew it straight away.
It's just one of those things. And we saw Graham Gooch do it in a Test match. It's a natural, it's a purely instinctive thing. If he'd knocked it away, you would have been all right, I think, under the laws. Let's have a look. No, you can't do that, Joe. You can't do that. That's so sad. But he goes obstructing the field for 2 and 82 for 7, and there's a bit of puzzlement, I'm sure, around the ground, as there was initially up here. But we saw the ball bounce down off Joe Moore's bat. It was heading for the stumps. Northamptonshire suddenly started celebrating, albeit in fairly muted fashion. I thought it had just bounced back, and maybe, because the bails weren't on the floor, maybe it had just clipped the stumps and the bail had come off, I don't know. But anyway, that was thanks to the replay that we've got here, and thanks to a very good bit of camera work, we've been able to see exactly what happened. And Joe Moores goes obstructing the field for 2. And Lancashire are 82 for 7. And Ben Walkden comes to the crease on a king pair.
Yes. The highs of his debut with the ball and how nicely he bowled. But those good feelings were quickly erased. First ball duck on debut, but has a second chance here.
Proctor bustling in to bowl to him. And, well, he's off the king pair because he leaves that alone outside the off stump. So he's just got the pair to worry about now.
Yeah, you do feel for young Joe Moores, don't you? I mean, going back to the point that Croft made last night, that you wanting young players to come into a team or to be introduced, I think, into first-team cricket when the team's doing well. That's your ideal situation. Team's confident, winning games, you try and get young players involved. But it's tough when the team's not playing well.
Proctor in, bowls to Walkden, who is squared up by a good ball from Proctor that goes past the outside edge into the gloves of Lewis McManus.
And instinct takes over, doesn't it, on that on occasion? That's a lovely ball by Proctor. The delivery he got Bohannon, I think, is probably the pick of the bunch for me. It was an absolute beauty he got Josh Bohannon with. But...
Well, yeah, and I just feel a bit for Shetty, who had another one that he really couldn't do much with. Proctor in again, bowls to Walkden, confidently punches that up to Chahal at mid-off, and that's the end of Luke Proctor's over. 82 for 7. There's a bit of that sort of hush around the ground, and I'm not sure everybody's quite necessarily up to speed with what's happened there, but we've at least been able to describe it to you, and I've never seen that before, not live anyway.
No, I don't think I have.
82...
No, we mentioned the famous one that was on the telly, but
82 for 7.
You don't see that too many times, do you?
Of course, the law changed. It would have been handle the ball, wouldn't it? But it's now, handle the ball has now gone out of the game, and it's now part of obstructing the field under law 37.
You can't use any part of your hand, can you? Even if you knocked it away with the hand, I don't think that's allowed, is it?
No.
If you needed to bat it, that's fine, but I didn't think you could use any part of your hand. Anyway, here's Chahal to Balderson. He's going back and trying to cover up, and ball just slides on past the edge and through to the keeper.
Bowler doesn't get the credit for the dismissal, by the way. It just goes down as obstructing the field.
Into Balderson, he's skipping down the pitch, and that's played up towards mid-off. And no addition to the score.
Apparently it happened once in the IPL this year.
Right, okay. Chahal looped up, beautifully looped up from Chahal. Balderson drives away into the offside for no run. Just don't see this type of bowling that often. You're so used to watching leg spinners just really bowling it quite flat and quick. And he's got this lovely way of just lofting it up and teasing the batter. There's so little pace on the ball, it would appear, when watching it from this distance away. It's lovely to watch it.
In other news, James Sales is returning from the coffee shop with a large bag of something or other.
No, he's not got coffee.
No, it's not coffee. Cake, I reckon.
Oh dear, cheeky. 2 slip, silly point and a short leg. That one's a little flatter from Chahal and played back towards him by Ben Walkden. And there's no run. 83 for 7. 20 minutes left, just under 20 minutes remaining of the morning session. Tapped into the offside. By Walkden. Guthrie's up there at cover to scoop it up and hands the ball back to Chahal. Into Walkden. A little bit from around the batter for the LBW. Nothing from the bowler. Again, on that occasion it was a little flatter and quicker, so he's got this lovely variations which he can go to as well. End of the over. 5 overs for Chahal, 1 for 8. Proctor 7 overs, 2 for 21. Sanderson and Guthrie got the whole thing going. It has been pretty relentless. the accuracy and the consistency and of Northamptonshire's bowlers. There's been no real get out at all for Lancashire, and they've made the most of it this morning, certainly.
Here is Proctor running away from us to bowl to George Balderson, who starts to think about following that one, but again it shapes away nicely towards the slip cordon. Balderson plays just inside the line and it goes through to the keeper. Morning, or good afternoon I should say, to John Whiting. I know John and Erica have been here, follow Northamptonshire, a lot of venues around the country, watch a lot of cricket around the world indeed, and so the last and only obstruction or handled the ball I've seen was Graham Gooch in the test match here, of course, which was Scott mentioned, outside the off stump, left alone by George Balderson. Just trying to find instances in county cricket, because as I say, I've never seen one, but I'm sure there will be a list somewhere. So
you can kick it away, can't you?
Yes,
I think you can kick it away,
yes.
And you just can't.
I don't know the part of what's regarded as person. I think this drives up to mid on, and there's no run. Yeah, it's as I say, law 37 includes intentionally hitting the live ball with a free hand.
Yeah,
it says. Of course, it also covers lots of other things, altering if you're running, deliberately altering your path to stop the throw. Around the wicket comes Proctor outside the off stump. And also, because it does cover the fact that if you can be given out like that, if you pick the ball up as a batter and throw it to the opposition without permission. I've known that happen in club cricket. Which caused a certain amount of controversy.
But it did. But that went down well.
Well, it didn't. It didn't go down very well at all. Here's Proctor in bowls, and Balderson defends. But it is, all covered now under law 37. So that will be your lunchtime reading.
Lovely.
And there'll be a short test after lunch, so make sure you absorb all the sub-paragraphs and sub-clauses. Here's Proctor in bowls outside the off stump. Yeah, I mean, they're saying about willfully being the key word in that, and unfortunately, although you can say it was involuntary, but it wasn't. It would count, as I'm sure, as a sort of willfully, in that Joe Moore's actually caught it. But it's just a miserable way to get out.
Yep, it was a rather sad, forlorn walk back to the dressing room, wasn't it, from young Joe?
Outside the off stump goes Proctor. Doesn't bounce a great deal, just scuttles through really to McManus, left alone by Balderson, 85 for 7. I suppose the one thing you can say, and Joe Moore's being at the very early stage of what we all hope will be a long and successful career in the game, he'll never do that again.
No. It's probably pretty safe to say.
And I thought, Calvin Harrison's just having a little limber up, so I wonder if we might get an over of him before lunch. It's still going to be Chahal to continue from the Sir James Anderson end, but Harrison's very much in full-blown limbering up mode.
Yes, he's twirling his hips around, isn't he?
Yes, he is.
A lovely twirl of the hip. Chahal to Walkden. Pressed into the offside. Looking for his first-class runs here is Ben Walkden. Out for North in the first innings. Can't find a way to get going here. Just squirts into the offside. Chahal. Into Walkden again. Played up towards mid-off. Proctor fields, lobs it back to his bowler. And now he's down on one knee, Harrison. Stretching his left arm. Okay, that's floated up by Chahal, and that gets Walkden going. So
good.
He's off the mark. to be a few crumbs of comfort to take from Lancashire in this game, but where he's bowled, certainly is one of them. And he gets himself his first run in first-class cricket as well. Balderson's back on strike. Chahal flatter and quicker to Balderson. That's turned into the onside. There's nothing going there for Balderson. Slip and a short leg, forward short leg. Short mid-wicket, cover, mid-off, mid-on. Mid-wicket, backward square leg, backward point. That's going to be 4 for Balderson. That's driven away firmly out through the offside to the right of Sanderson at mid-off. Nicely played by Balderson for 4. He moves on to 6. Lancashire 90 for 7.
There is, and I've heard it, and I should probably try and find it again. Commentary, we talked about John Arlott earlier in connection with Sir Clive Lloyd. He was commentating when Len Hutton was given out obstructing the field. He was the first one to go that way in a test match. England-South Africa 1951.
It's worked into the onside by Balderson up to mid-on, end of the over, 90 for 7.
And I think on that occasion it was again a swat of the hand when the keeper was about to, Russell Endine, I think the keeper was, he was about to take the ball and just sort of an involuntary flick at the ball, and he had to go. 90 for 7, and we are going to see Calvin Harrison bowl for the first time in the match.
Well, he's been given a few clues, hasn't he?
Yes, yes.
He's been doing all sorts of stretching. And
yes, he certainly has.
I'm ready, Captain, whenever you want me.
Well, so he has happy memories of bowling here. Last year he picked up 11 wickets in the match, 4 in the first innings, 7 in the second, and set a new record for best bowling figures, match bowling figures for a Northamptonshire bowler on debut for the county, beating a record that had stood since 1907, which coincidentally was the first season that Northamptonshire played here, at least in the county championship. They did play here before that in friendlies. Of course, Lancashire taking Northamptonshire's fast bowler Arthur Mould, born in Middleton Cheney, right down in the far south of Northamptonshire, picked up by Lancashire in the 1880s. Took a lot of wickets for Lancashire, but there was always a controversy about his bowling action, whether he chucked it or not. 90 for 7. At 8 minutes to go till lunch. Harrison will bowl for the first time in the match. He's bowling from the Brian Statham end with a silly point and 2 slips, and he bowls, and it's edged away by Ben Walkden wide of second slip. It's running down towards the third man boundary, and they will come through for a comfortable 2. Takes Ben Walkden to 3 and Lancashire to 92 for 7. Well, just when you come to the ground in the morning thinking you've seen everything,
There's always something.
there's always
isn't there?
something.
Yeah, there is.
Here's Harrison tossing the ball from hand to hand, short leg in as well as he bowls outside the off stump, and a little bit of bounce on offer for Calvin Harrison, who is of course a tall man. He's about 6'3", one of those that makes your arm ache when you interview him. Not quite as much as George Scrimshaw or Harry Conway, but here's Conway, Harrison rather, in, driven beautifully by Ben Walkden. It's beaten the dive of Yuzi Chahal. It's going to run away for 4. Through mid-off. Lovely shot. Nicely timed. And that will make, I'm sure, Ben Walkden feel a huge amount better. 96 for 7.
Yeah, nicely done.
Wasn't maybe the greatest piece of fielding that... but...
No.
Anyway.
Lovely shot, though.
It was a lovely shot. 96 for 7. Still 2 slips, silly point. Forward short leg as Harrison is in, bowls and Walkden defends. Back down the pitch and there's no run. Calvin Harrison, 16 championship wickets this year. He's got through quite a lot of overs. So say very effective in the blast. In again, bowls and defended by Walkden. Up towards mid-off, but Harrison thinking probably it's best if you want the job doing, do it yourself. Comes across some fields himself before it gets to Yuzi Chahal. 22 wickets in the blast. He's in, bowls, flighted right up and whipped away by Walkden. More runs for him here. It's a chase for Luke Proctor out away through mid-wicket, and they come back for 2. Walkden goes to 9, and Lancashire to 98 for 7 at the end of Calvin Harrison's first over, which cost 8 runs. 98 for 7. Walkden is 9. Balderson is 6. Certainly 1 over to go till lunch, maybe 2.
Yep, and then the members that are inside the ground will be treated to the Q&A with Marloy, which should be lovely. I don't know whether he mentioned the Lancashire supporter Dave. I don't know whether Dave from Blackpool's here or not, but if he is, I'm sure man will look forward to seeing him. But that was a lovely story. I like that.
Yes.
Didn't realise you got invited into the dressing room to say, Dave, you can't say that to the opposition players as well.
Great.
Chahal into Balderson on the front foot and defends, and there's no run. So it's not been pretty viewing for Lancashire members inside the ground, but I'm sure they'll enjoy the lunchtime chat with Mal. Balderson waiting for Chahal, and that's he's not offered a shot. It kind of brushes the front pad, so there's a obligatory appeal from the keeper. Polishing the ball on his backside is Chahal as he slowly drifts back to his mark. Lovely day for Chahal to be twirling in. Jabbed away by Balderson. Scooped up by Bartlett. Lobbed back to the bowler. 1 for 13. He's halfway through his 7th over. A little flatter. And again, Balderson just easing gently onto the front foot and smothers the ball back down the pitch. Harrison comes across from short mid-wicket to pick it up and gives it back to Chahal. He's in again. Shot offered from Balderson. Gets the bat out the way. Ball pitches. Just grips enough and past the off stump. McManus, the keeper, with his cap tucked into the back of his trousers, takes the catch. He crouches down because Chahal's in again and into drive, but doesn't time the ball as he was hoping for. Balderson just kind of squirts away to cover. That is the end of the over. It might be the end of Chahal, but of course we've got spin from both ends. So it depends how quickly Harrison gets through this. But 3 minutes away from the lunch break.
So here's one for you then. It sounded like the late great Jack Bannister used to say, here's one for you. The last player to be given out obstructing the field in a county championship match is out on the field. Louis Kimber. For Leicestershire against Gloucestershire at Bristol in 2023. I don't know the circumstances, but I have tracked down the list anyway.
I wonder if he's in the slips. I wonder if he was the very first to appeal for Northamptonshire, having been on the receiving end of it.
It's possible. It's possible. Here's Harrison. Bowls to Walkden, turns it away past short leg, and he will get a single as it goes past Bartlett. Guthrie tidies up, coming in from the deep, down in front of the hotel. Takes Walkden to 10, double figures, off 16 balls, 99 for 7. Could well be that, I think it probably will be the last over before lunch. They're doing a certain amount of faffing around with the field.
Yes, there was a bit of faffing.
Can't beat a bit of faffing.
Sunday afternoon faffing.
Got deep cover now, long off. So whether they think George Balderson might venture a blow over the top, I'm not sure. He hasn't shown any signs of it so far. Only 6 off 34 balls. But anyway, here's Harrison in, round the wicket. Bowls to Balderson, who is caught at short leg. And that's a thick inside edge. It hasn't gone off the pad. It's just gone straight to Bartlett. And it's one of those that either sticks or it doesn't. And on that occasion, it stuck. Balderson goes for 6. Northamptonshire 2 wickets away. And I don't think, to be fair to George Bartlett, he had a great deal of say in that. I think it just went straight to him. But Balderson goes for 6. Caught Bartlett, bowled Harrison. So Calvin Harrison joins in the party. And Lancashire 99 for 8.
Yeah, right into the. You described it as the breadbasket earlier on, didn't you? It's right there, right into the middle. I don't think it went into his hands. It was caught in his stomach,
yes,
I think.
I think so, yes.
But it was effective nonetheless.
Involuntary, but we talked about that earlier in the context of Joe Moore's dismissal. But yeah, that's decent grab by Bartlett, and it means Noman Ali has got to come out at number 10. Out for a single in the first innings, LBW to Liam Guthrie. George Balderson, I just find he's a bit bewildering this year because he's such a good player, and to see him struggling the way he has with the bat this year, albeit, you know, from a distance, just seems odd. And of course, knowing his Auntie Helen, I'm you know, you must feel slightly a paternal interest in George Balderson. Don't think Auntie Helen's here, I'll be surprised. Anyway, 99 for 8. 4 balls left in the over. Noman Ali just swinging his arms. He has for company a slip, forward short leg, short mid wicket. Harrison round the wicket, bowls, and Noman Ali is forward. Defending, rolls out to George Bartlett in there at short leg. Harrison. Oh, they're bringing everybody in now, so they're making absolutely sure that they're not going to get another over in. In fact, the clock has gone past 1 o'clock, so another close catcher is going in. They have a slip now, forward short leg, silly point, and a short mid wicket. Save Zabe now under the lid at silly point. Vasconcelos at slip, Bartlett at forward short leg, and he's just moving Guthrie in front of square at point. Harrison in and bowls, and a little bit of turn there, but worked nicely past forward short leg by Noman Ali for a single, brings up the 100 for Lancashire, 100 for 8. Well, I can reveal that Joe Moores has the unfortunate accolade or whatever of being the first Lancashire player to go obstructing the field, although it did happen against Lancashire in 1901. Here's Harrison in and defended nicely by Walkden.
It's a no ball.
No ball called. Well, he famously bowled one of those up at Durham when David Beddingham was caught on the boundary off it and proved a rather crucial moment in the game because Beddingham went on to win the game for Durham. Next ball is defended by Walkden out into the offside, and there is no run. Yes, the player concerned, one John Parkinson Whiteside, although he was playing for Leicestershire against Lancashire, was actually born in Fleetwood. Not a lot of people know that. Here's Harrison in, forced off the back foot by Walkden to point.
That's fair.
That is the end of the over. And I'm assuming, perhaps they're going to play on.
Playing on? No, we're playing on.
Is this the extra half hour or whatever?
Yeah, well, yeah, half hour or is it extra 15 minutes? I get confused with these things.
I'm never quite sure how long it is anyway.
No.
They are playing on. So 102 for 8. Walkden is 10. Noman is 1. Northamptonshire need 2 more wickets.
Yeah, Noman will continue to face him. He's on strike, and Chahal is in to bowl to him. He's got a bit of company around the bat. A slip and a short leg and a silly point and a short mid wicket, short cover. Mid off, mid on, there's a deeper mid wicket and a backward square leg. Chahal to Noman Ali. Dabbed away into the offside. There's no, I think this happened in the reverse fixture, didn't it? At Wantage Road. I think we got to I'm sure we got to a lunch break then and played on for another little passage of time. Nudged away by Noman off his hip. Gathered at short, fine leg by McSweeney. No run. And he creeps again, Jahal. Ooh, that's swatted out towards the leg side by Noman Ali. There's a bit of a heave out towards mid-wicket, but quite get a hold of it maybe as he was hoping for. There's no addition to the score in bowls, and that's going to be runs out through the offside. There'll be a couple of them. We'll come back for two.
No Lancashire player has ever been out handled the ball as well, and it's worth just making that distinction because, as I say, that used to be a separate mode of dismissal, and now it isn't since they changed the laws.
Jahal to no man, that's punched into the offside. Kimberfield at cover.
Last handled the ball dismissals in the Championship, Sean Dixon for Kent against Leicestershire in 2016, and Pujara for Derbyshire against Leicestershire 2014.
Floated up to Noman Ali, who leans into it and drills it along the ground to mid-off where Sanderson fields. Jahal collects his cap, end of the over. It's 104 for 8.
Also happened to Michael Vaughan in a test match against India at Bangalore, and of course famously happened to Graham Gooch here in an Ashes test against Australia in 1993. All of which I'm sure makes Joe Moores feel not an iota better than he does already. But anyway, 104 for 8 into extra time. Not sure when the penalties come, but 104 for 8. Here's Harrison in and bowls back of a length and punched away by Walkden out for a single out to deep cover. One more to Ben Walkden. He goes to 11, 105 for 8. Still 66 overs remaining after this one. Harrison just tweaking his field a little for the left-handed Balderson. Still a slip and a forward short leg, and he's round the wicket bowls. Oh. And that turned. And Balderson, Noman left it alone, and it didn't miss the stumps by much.
Turned quite sharply, that, didn't it?
Absolutely ragged. Oh, my goodness. Out of the footmarks, I think. Here's appeal for LBW as Noman Ali goes back. It turned again. I think it probably did too much.
It probably did.
Well, Lancashire saw, I think last year, wasn't it, that Harrison can access the footmarks really well and bowl into them, and did so effectively here in that game a year ago, just over a year ago. Outside the off stump, forward goes Noman and is beaten outside the off stump. McManus nips a bail off. In fact, nips both bails off, but Noman had not moved. But Harrison getting a little bit of joy here, bowling round the wicket to the left-hander. In again, bowls, and this time Noman meets the ball on the full, pushes it up towards Proctor at mid-off. And there's no run, still a beautiful early afternoon here in Manchester. Bright sunshine, bit of cloud around. Harrison in bowls and Noman Ali defends. Back down the pitch, there is no run, end of the over, 11 to Walkden, 3 to Noman, 105 for 8. Lancashire resuming this morning on 24 for 2. They lost the night watchman Tom Bailey for 19, that was 51 for 3. Bohannon for 10, 51 for 4. Arab Shetty for 11. That was 77 for 5. Rocky Flintoff also for 11. 77 for 6. Joe Moores for 2. That was 82 for 7. And George Balderson for 6. And that was 99 for 8. It's now 105 for 8.
With trial by spin continuing, Jahal over the wicket to Ben Wharton, tapped into the offside. So he got round the bat here. There's 4 fielders. So there's a slip and a gully and a silly point. Vasconcelos at first slip, and that little gap to where Harrison got a second slip position. That thudded into the body of Bartlett, who's at silly point. He's wore a few.
He has, hasn't he?
A couple of bruises in there. And then there's a forward short leg. Safe save, crouching down. Wharton defends it. Back down the pitch. It very, very slowly rolls back down towards Jahal, who stands his ground and waits for the ball to come to him. And then quickly back to his mark. Quicker ball to Wharton. Trying to see if he can sneak one through, but he's able to keep that out.
Do you think this is a deliberate ploy to build the suspense ahead of Mal Loy's Q&A?
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Taking the extra time.
Mal will be pacing back and forth, waiting.
Hit it.
The appeal quickly fizzled away as a result. 105 for 8. One ball remaining of the over. Hit that as well. That's pushed into the offside. End of the over. With Wharton on 11 and Naman Ali on 3. 42 overs gone of Lancashire's second innings. So we're into this additional period of time. You referred to it as extra time.
Yes, I think so. Well, it's not extra time. It's just basically with the umpires. I think think they can get a result could be achieved without having to interrupt play to go off for lunch. But which is fine up to a point. Is Harrison in bowls and no man defends down to backward point. It is admirable in many levels. It's not admirable if you happen to be a bit peckish. But it's all about us, as we know.
Sandwiches are on weight. I don't know if it's sandwiches are not again today.
105 for 8. Harrison in bowls. Noman Ali defends out into the offside. Guthrie comes around from backward point to field. And there is no run. Great deal of breeze this morning. The flag's doing a lot of billowing on the top of the members' pavilion as Harrison is in bowls and Noman Ali on the front foot, defending. Harrison has got a little bit of purchase out of foot marks at the far end. Bowling round the wicket to the left-hander to try and access them. And that is pushed hard into the ground by Noman and fielded by Bartlett at forward short leg. Now, I thought Northamptonshire, they're going to put somebody else in close. Yeah, maybe that Zabe, who has gone in at silly point on occasion, is going to go back in there as a very large aircraft. Goes out of... Now, did we establish whether it was going out of or into Manchester?
I think that's probably gone out of Manchester.
Yeah. Probably here on our effects, Mike. Somebody off on holes.
Lovely.
Here's Harrison in and bowls, and again Ali is forward in defence. Plays it back down the pitch. Harrison fields.
You very rarely see them come across.
It is.
It's always all the activities behind us. So it's come the scenic route, isn't it?
whereas at Headingley, of course, you see a lot of planes going out of or into Leeds Bradford. Harrison round the wicket again to Noman Ali, who has a drive at that one outside the off stump. It's taken by Lewis McManus, who nips off the bails, and Safe Zabe politely inquires of umpire Chris Watts if that may have been out.
Is that it?
And that, I think, they've...
I don't know if it is or not.
Well, nobody seems to have a faintest... Oh, they've got to wait until
1:15.
Chris Watts gets to... Oh, you can have another one, guys.
I think so. We were playing till 1:15 then, weren't we?
Yes,
So it's 14 minutes past is the clock. It's gone 1:15 now. But they're also playing on for a bit at Grace Road, aren't they? Because Glamorgan are 9 down, so they're still going there for the same reasons we are here. Glamorgan requiring 43 runs to beat Leicestershire, but only 1 wicket remaining. Everywhere else have gone to lunch. Essex 7 down against Somerset at lunch. Tapped away by Walkden. Lead at Somerset by 83 runs, but just with 3 wickets remaining.
It's a little perler at Merchant Taylor School. You see Middlesex needing 356, 300 for 8.
Nice.
Still a bit left in that one.
56 to win for Middlesex, 2 wickets for Kent. Oh, that turn, but left by Walkden. Nice. Some good finishes this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Joe Cracknell, 59 not out. Tom Helm, 31 not out. Those two have put on 80 odd for the 9th wicket.
Chahal wants the LBW. And is not going to get it. There's Walkden. Rocked onto the front foot in defence. Chahal can't quite believe it. Sliding down. 3 balls left before lunch. Lobbed up by Chahal and clipped mid-on by Walkden. And there's no run. Hampshire in Division 1, they need 99 more runs to beat Yorkshire, but they only have 4 wickets remaining. Chris Watts was waiting for the aircraft to go above us before we were allowing Chahal to continue. Flicked into the onside by Walkden. Jogs through for 1.
Thought he was going to get his app out and see
where he was going.
Which plane was. Still, I sit in the garden and do that a lot. So. When it's Daventry departure and you get a lot of the transatlantic flights coming over Northamptonshire, it's whiles away an evening, you know.
Wondering where it's going to and where it's come from.
Yeah. Get the app out and you can see.
Final ball. He's defended by Noman Ali, and that will be lunch on the final day. And that is a brilliant session of cricket for Northamptonshire. It's been a pretty wretched one for Lancashire, but it's been outstanding for Northamptonshire. They are 2 wickets away from victory at lunch on the 4th and final day. 106 for 8, Lancashire. And they'll be greeted back to their dressing room, Northamptonshire, by, I'm sure, a very proud coaching staff, Radders, because that was a great session again for Northants.
Yeah, pretty good, and especially as they had to wait. They had to had a half an hour when nothing much happened at all, and it looked as though Josh Bohannon and the night watchman Tom Bailey would maybe just bat for long enough to leave Northamptonshire a little bit frustrated, but it was Liam Guthrie who made the initial breakthrough with the wicket of Tom Bailey knocking stumps all over the shop. Of course, Northamptonshire dropped a catch as well in that little half hour early on. And then they just got amongst them, really, and Arav Shetty got a good ball. Rocky Flintoff, slightly obvious trap, baited, and he fell into it. And Joe Moore's just an awful way to go out, obstructing the field, ball jamming down, and it was bounced up, and he just caught it with his glove, which you're not allowed to do. And he had to go. So, yeah, good session for Northamptonshire. 2 wickets away from the first win here this century.
Cheers, Radders. We'll take a break. Catch you in about 40 minutes.
Have you heard of United 2 before? Do you like exams?
Because we don't do any traditional end-of-year exams.
If you're having a bad day, that shouldn't dictate whether or not you pass or fail a year.
We have 4 main subject areas.
Business, media, digital and sport.
You work directly with our industry partners to make sure you're ready for the real world.
Teaching across 4 different campuses. The Old Trafford campus, UE92 Business School, the Player and Media Centre at Lancashire Cricket Club and the Old Trafford Stadium.
You'll study one module at a time, as well as studying half days only.
Making time for work, hobbies, socialising, or your side hustles.
You'll secure a degree awarded by Lancaster University.
So what are you waiting for?
Join us at UE92.
Two names rich in history. Barton's, our family-run business with over 100 years of experience in drinks distribution, and Lancashire Cricket, a club drenched in tradition, heritage and globally recognised moments. Since 1917, Barton's has been supplying the finest wines, soft drinks and premium beverages across the UK, partnering with world-class brands to bring unforgettable experiences to every occasion. Now, we're excited to announce we will be bringing that same passion to cricket fans at Emirates Old Trafford. As the official wine, spirits and soft drinks partner of Lancashire Cricket, we're elevating matchday experiences, hospitality and celebrations across the next 3 years. From the first ball to the final cheers, Barton's is here to make every moment one to savour. Barton's and Lancashire Cricket, a partnership built on passion, unforgettable moments and history.
Guys, make way for the designated driver.
When I was a kid, there was no professional women's cricket. I didn't even think that women could be professional sports people.
Especially early on, it just didn't really seem like there was a career in it.
To support myself around cricket, I had to work at the petrol garage.
I was the only girl, so I stood out.
I'd love for young girls to be able to dream about being an athlete and it to be achievable.
Thanks to the Hilton funding my contract, it's allowed me to play the game that I love all day, every day.
We're like an engine and we need to be fuelled with the right gas.
Without funding, we can't be visible. You can't be what you can't see.
As a team, it feels like we're breaking boundaries.
Thunder and Lancashire always want to put women's cricket at the forefront, and now I think that's really shining through.
It's mad to think that without the Hilton funding, like, we wouldn't be playing cricket every day, training.
Well, we could be, but we wouldn't have any money.
Yeah, true.
Pass the Pringles!
Welcome to the opening day. Oh, that is a wonderful shot.
I said we're waiting for the white flag.
Especially from that wicket, I could make you as well, because the wicket was pretty true, but from other wickets, I can't leave as much as well.
Well, good afternoon and welcome back to Emirates Old Trafford for the second session in this fourth and final day's play in the Rothesay County Championship match between Lancashire and Northamptonshire. Northamptonshire on the brink. They will feel, I'm sure, of wrapping up only their fifth championship victory on this historic ground ever. First one back in 1953, last one 27 years ago. Still got 2 wickets they need to take, though. Lancashire 106 for 8. It was a good session for the visitors. 6 wickets in the session this morning. Ben Walkden, who was on a king pair when he came out, but has moved nicely on to 12. Noman Ali is 3. Andrew Radd and Scott Reed with you through until the conclusion of this fixture, however long that takes. And it's going to be Harrison to bowl the first ball of the afternoon session. If you're listening on BBC outlets or on Lancs TV, here's Harrison in and bowls to Walkden, who defends out into the covers, and there's no run. 2 slips in place. Forward short leg, and backward point, deep cover, extra cover, mid-off, mid-on, and deep backward square. Here's Harrison in and bowls, and that turns sharply. Saw 1 or 2 turn before lunch from Harrison, but mainly bowling round the wicket to the left-hander. But that's from over the wicket, and that did turn appreciably. Leg spinner in again, bowls and smothered by Ben Walkden. Well, he'll remember this game, his debut, for a great many reasons, Ben Walkden. If he could make a few runs here. Harrison is in and bowls to him, and he's picked up another run there as he pushes that into the gap between extra cover and backward point, and they come through for a single. Walkden to 13, first run of the afternoon. Lancashire 107 for 8. The victory target 446, which I think the best will in the world is probably not going to happen. Northamptonshire have 62 overs after this, or minimum of 62 in which to pick up these last 2 wickets. Harrison round the wicket to the left-handed Noman Ali, who defends out into the offside. McManus trots round from behind the stumps to field. Members at the far end emerging from the pavilion, blinking in the light after being entertained, I'm sure, handsomely by Mal Loy at lunchtime. Harrison in again to finish the over, and that turned. It also kept a bit low. And Noman Ali, I think, very deliberately asking if it was all right to pick the ball up before he did so. In view of what happened earlier on in the day. 107 for 8 with Walkden on 13. Noman is 3. Harrison has bowled just the 2 overs. Guthrie it's going to be to bowl for Northamptonshire from the Sir James Anderson end. He's been pretty good, Liam Guthrie, in this game. Got a chance to add to his haul. He's also had, must be said, Scott, he's had a couple of catches dropped as well.
Yes, he has this morning. Had a couple this morning, didn't he? I think one in the first innings off Harris as well. Or was it the second innings? I think it was first, I think.
First innings, yeah.
One dropped this morning and a couple which edged and fell short. So he can make a claim, I think, for being the pick of the bowlers for Northamptonshire. I mean, Sanderson got 4 in the first innings, but he's been excellent across the 2 innings, Guthrie. Guess it's helped with a little bit with that left arm, isn't it? It gives you a little bit of a point of difference. He's in from the Anderson end. Forward, Walkden and go, just pressing up towards mid-off for a single. Takes his tally to 14. Yeah, we had Chahal and Harrison. In fact, we had Chahal for a long spell just prior to the lunch break. But just mixing things up, the Lancashire, the Northamptonshire captain, with left arm seam from the Anderson end. He's got Noman Ali on strike, 3 slip catches, and then a leg slip. And there's a fine leg as well, and a mid wicket, mid on, mid off, and backward point. Guthrie to no man. And that's just dropped into the onside. Tapped away from about hip height to mid-wicket.
Now there's a surprise. Having seen the way he played that, short legs going in. I think
you're right. It's our old mate Bartlett with the job again. He's done to deserve that. He scored 200 runs against Lancashire this season.
Yes,
And he's,
right, yes.
He's been hit on the shoulder as well in that position this morning.
No man didn't look massively.
He didn't.
He was enjoying that, did he? So
No, he didn't.
Not surprised to see short leg gone in.
It was a bit of a fend off, wasn't it, from Noman Ali? Pushed away into the offside this time. Backward point in there to stop it. Nathan McSweeney. And there's no run. We have Vasconcelos at first slip. Calvin Harrison at second. Louis Kimber, who's been out there, well, all day yesterday and today with the little niggle that James Sales has got on his ankle. And those catches are all crouching down now. Guthrie balls. It's short, it's top edged, and it's caught. And the plans worked. The leg slip catcher has snaffled it. Safe Zabe. And Guthrie gets his second wicket of the innings and his fifth in the match. 9 down, 108 for 9, and they were quick. Sorry to pick up on that, wasn't it? And to alter their plans when they saw the way that Noman Ali kind of fended off that shortish ball, got the leg slip in, got the short leg in, and easy pickings really for Safe Zabe.
I think you made the point yesterday, Scott, that Luke Proctor's had one of those games, hasn't he? Which you get occasionally as a captain. Equally, it'll work the other way sometimes, and everything you try turns to ashes in the mouth, as it were. But on this occasion, he's just had a good game, hasn't he? More or less everything he's tried, he's been right on point. I'll be interested to see what the coach has to say at the end, assuming Northamptonshire wrap this up. But he's had a good game as captain. I think he batted well. He's bowled beautifully this morning. And you just get the feeling, as we mentioned earlier, that he's just enjoying himself. He's just enjoying his cricket generally. He's made that very clear, I know, on any number of occasions, hence the fact that he's just signed for another 2 years, which, you know, considering he's getting on a little bit in years, but he's still, as he's proved in this game, 100% worth his place.
29. 29. Is that not right? Am I looking at the wrong one?
Sorry, were you looking up?
Guthrie.
Oh, Guthrie, yes, sorry.
Yeah,
Yes, sorry.
29.
Miles away.
It's okay. Short ball from Guthrie, and Stanley leans back, left alone, through to the keeper.
Yeah, he's one of those, doesn't count, although he's obviously born and brought up in Australia, doesn't count as overseas, got a passport that allows him to, I'm not sure what nationality passport it is, but UK passport, fair enough. Born in Subiaco in Western Australia.
One ball left of his opening over of the, could be a pretty short afternoon session. One more wicket to win. And pending short to Stanley. And he's underneath that, and that is the end of the over. They had the same strategy there for Stanley. They had the forward short leg and the leg slip, so a couple of short balls to end the over, but Stanley ducking and swaying out the way of it. 108 for 9 at Lancashire.
He put bat to ball in the first innings, didn't he? Stanley hit, was it Chahal for 6, I think?
Yeah, that saved the possibility of the follow-on. But
right. Although we were pretty sure that Northamptonshire wouldn't have enforced, because they were very keen for Lancashire to bat last on this surface. To be fair, it hasn't done a lot, has it really? It's nibbled a little bit, and the odd one, a little bit of up and down bounce, but nothing remotely alarming. Here's Harrison then. Bowling to Ben Walkden, and Walkden defends out into the offside, and there's no run. Well, Glenn Chappell, Northamptonshires senior assistant coach, was a member of the Lancashire side that lost to Northamptonshire here in 1999, last time that happened. Harrison in, bowls and defended by Walkden off the back foot. Lancashire captained in that game by the current president of Andletown Cricket Club, John Crawley.
Tremendous.
But it was an element of, it was one of those contrived games. Here's Harrison in, bowls and turned into the onside by Walkden. He's going to take a single as it rolls up to Proctor at mid-on. Walkden goes to 15 and Lancashire to 109 for 9.
Don't really get many of those now, do you?
No, very few. This was yeah, 2 fairly high-scoring first innings, and then it was a chuck-it-up job in the third innings. Here's Harrison in and bowls to Stanley, who defends out into the offside. There is no run. Northamptonshire made 404 for 8. Lancashire 350 for 6 declared. And Northamptonshire 256 for no wicket in 44 overs as Harrison is in bowls. Pushed up to Proctor at mid-on, and there's no run. Graham Lloyd bowled 10 overs for 100. John Crawley 6 overs for 51. Set up a target and Lancashire were bowled out quite cheaply. Here's Harrison in bowls and Stanley very solid in defence, pushes it out to the covers, end of the over. 109 for 9. Walkden is 15. Stanley yet to get off the mark. Harrison has bowled 6 overs, 1 for 15. Lancashire all out for 121, with wickets shared between Devon Malcolm, 4 for 37, Graham Swan, 3 for 22, Paul Taylor, 2 for 22, and David Follett, 1 for 29. Old trigger.
Well, that's a long time ago. It's a long wait for a win here again for Northamptonshire, but they're almost there. And the opting for this strategy where at least it goes through the option to try and bowl a little short. So there's a leg, well, there's a short leg, and there's a leg slip, and there's a fine leg. And playing and missing is Walkden into the gloves of Lewis McManus.
Also might become a quiz question, as we were talking about earlier, that if Northamptonshire win this, then Luke Proctor becomes the second Oldham-born cricketer to captain Northamptonshire to a championship victory at Old Trafford.
Beautifully niche, isn't it?
Yes. That's my speciality.
It is, right.
After
you do it so well.
After Keith Andrew back in 1965.
Good work. Guthrie in. It's short and it's pulled as he cleared Sanderson. He has. And comes back for 2. And takes his score on to 17. 111 for 9. You were busy last night putting all these stats together, weren't you? No wonder you didn't have chance for a beer.
No, I know. It's has to be done. It's more the fact that I tend to be in bed by about 9:30 these days. It's rather more to do with it.
It's quite long days, aren't they, when you've got the extra overs? Guthrie into Walkden. That's defender back to Northamptonshire bowler, who scooped it up and lobs it to Sanderson.
I have to say, the Keith Andrew line only occurred to me when I was talking to our friend and colleague Paul Edwards at lunchtime about the Northamptonshire captains who have won championship matches here, and thought about Keith Andrew and the fact that he's obviously was a Lancastrian and born at, I think, Greenacres, is it, in Oldham, but lived and worked in Oldham for some years before he came down to Northamptonshire.
Guthrie, left arm round the wicket. Oh, that's a nice ball. Past Walkden's bat into the gloves of the keeper. Well, that's one for Luke Proctor to hear all about.
Yes, well, because set it to a bit of William Walton, another one of Oldham's finest. Heard his second symphony at the Proms a week ago today. It's very, very fine.
Walkden looking over his shoulder. You can see a couple of fielders on the leg side boundary. He's already taken one pull shot on. Guthrie into Walkden, short again, and loops up into over the batter and then down into the gloves of McManus. Walkden having nothing to do with it. Just went back and allowed it to go through. Chip a few more runs onto his score. Try and take something from this game. Certainly you can, Ben Walkden with the ball. 3 for 33 in the first innings. 1 for 20 in the second on debut. Final ball of the over. It's a single here. Just a little drop into the offside. Oh, Proctor goes for the run out. Direct hit may have been a little tight. Trying to run no man alley out. Sharp work from Proctor. Managed just to steal a single, so Walkden's on strike. It'll go into the offside. How close is this? Oh, he's gone. Yeah,
yes, he would have done.
Decent way out.
I suppose that would have been quite a fitting way to finish it, bearing in mind what we've been saying about Luke Proctor, but not to be on that occasion. 112 for 9. Can Calvin Harrison finish this game off? Walkden 18 off 45 balls, and of course had the distinction of dismissing a test player, Nathan McSweeney, in each innings. Here's Harrison then, bowls to Walkden, who defends. Back down the pitch and there's no run. 2 slips and a forward short leg. Northamptonshire 1 wicket from victory. They've called up Liam Guthrie from his fielding position down at deep backward square, is now coming up into the ring at square leg just in front. Harrison in, bowls to Walkden, who leaves it outside the off stump. Harrison bowling over the wicket to 2 right-handers. Bowls round the wicket to the right-hander, they just kick him away. Here's Harrison in again, bowls, and Walkden pushes forward, just enough turn to take it off the outer portion of the bat down to backward point. Kimber fields. Now, I think we're going to see another close catcher in. Safe Zabe has tucked his Northamptonshire cap into the back of his trousers and is donning the helmet, so he's going in at short leg. Bartlett in there at silly point. A slip and a gully. Kimber in there at short extra. And here's Harrison. Bowls to Ben Walkden and does appeal for LBW. Not out, says umpire Ashraf. More sort of general excitement because the ball was close to the inside edge. Bounced just in front of gully. It was the LBW they were asking for. Here's Harrison in again, bowls and a big swing from Walkden. He's gone up in the air. Is it going to drop safe? Just drop safe, with Guthrie tracking it back towards the deep mid-wicket boundary. Well, he had a swing, he got underneath it, and he got lucky with it, and it just dropped safe. 114 for 9, Walkden to 20 off his 50th ball. Harrison in again to Walkden, who defends. Pushes it past Bartlett at silly point, and that's the end of the over. 114 for 9. Walkden is 20. Mitch Stanley still looking for his first run. Harrison 1 for 17 off 7 overs. Guthrie continuing from the far end, and with the opportunity from Northamptonshire's point of view to make a little bit of history.
Yes, it wasn't too far away from catching up with it, was he, Guthrie? No. The captain went after it as well, Luke Proctor, but it was Guthrie that was closest to it. Just didn't quite able to catch up with it. Just dropped maybe a couple of yards in front of him. But they've got potentially 6 balls here at Mitch Stanley. It worked out pretty nicely for them. It's Guthrie, left arm round the wicket. It's full but wide and ignored by Stanley. He was a Dismissed by Chahal in the first innings, the LBW, but see, he came out swinging at the back end of the innings and certainly got the six that put the follow-on debate to bed. 3 catches in the slips, the leg slip, a forward short leg and a fine leg. And Sanderson at mid-on's quite tight in as well, so there's the fielders around for a catch. Let's edge down past third slip. That'll be 4 actually for Stanley, down towards the third man boundary. Gets him off the mark, 118 for 9. To the right of third slip. The ball's disappeared. Oh, I think it's underneath the blotter. Can hear the boots of a Northamptonshire player scrambling around for it, and has been located.
It's Calvin Harrison making himself useful down there.
He's got quite a long reach, hasn't he? So if he's, if it's underneath the super sopper somewhere, he can reach and grab it. 118 for 9, Guthrie to Stanley. Short ball, and Stanley's a big lad, did well to get underneath that. McManus, the keeper, skipping away to his left as the ball nestles into his gloves. Guthrie wandering back to his mark. Lunch would have tasted pretty good for the Northamptonshire boys, knowing that they were heading out for this potentially final session with just 2 more wickets required to win, and they've got 1 of them so far. It's full. It comes off the inner half of the bat from Stanley, just squirts away towards the leg side. It might even go for 4. Chahal stopped it, which is a fantastic effort. I mean, potentially largely pointless, but a great effort nonetheless. He's lost his cap and he's lost his sunglasses, and he's singled a 4.
No, I think he's rescinded the. He's rescinded the call. I think. Ooh, let's have a look. Ooh. Not sure about that.
It's been run 2 instead.
Yeah,
that's a fine effort to get round and stop it.
If this was a Test match or an ODI or a T20, I think we'd be seeing that a few times. But,
ultra slow-mo replays
yes,
required.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Stanley gets a couple. Here's Guthrie to Stanley. In behind it and defends. Bouncing back down the pitch to Guthrie. And there's no run. Well, it's a tremendous commitment from Chahal.
It is, isn't it?
I mean, those 2 runs not really going to count for much, but still, nonetheless, for our viewers on Lancs TV, look at him go here.
Yes.
What do we reckon?
That's all right.
It's
I
all
think it's
right.
okay.
Yeah.
I think that's all right. I was just wondering about where the first step that took him over the boundary, whether he was in contact with the ball, but he wasn't.
Guthrie to Stanley. It's full, and that's nicely driven away. And that will probably have just about enough. It's slowing ever so slowly towards the rope, but it does just get beyond Proctor's reach. And 4 for Stanley. Nice shot, though, for Mitchell Stanley. 124 for 9.
Crowd have burst into life. Members at the far end.
He warmed up my Malloy for the for the afternoon session. Come out bouncing.
Hope nobody spilt anything over his jacket.
It was a lovely jacket.
Very nice jacket. Man from Del Monte.
Did you use that line with him? Did you? did you tell him?
No, I might mention that to him another time. Or on the other hand, I might not. 124 for 9. Calvin Harrison with another opportunity to finish this match off. Bowling to Ben Walkden with a forward short leg, a silly point, slip and a gully. And now Liam Guthrie, who obviously forgot where he was supposed to be fielding, has gone down on the boundary and has now come up into the ring at square leg. Harrison in and bowls to Walkden, who cuts that away nicely. He'll get a run down to deep backward point, fielded by Yuzi Chahal. 125 for 9, Walkden to 21. Mitchell Stanley, 10 off 11, made 13 in the first innings, so including a decent bunt for 6 off Chahal. Harrison in. Bowles to Stanley, who defends. Back down the pitch, Harrison skips across to his right to field. 3 saving 1 on the offside, backward point, extra cover and a mid-off. Harrison in and Bowles to Stanley, and Stanley uses his considerable height and reach to get to the pitch of that, smother what spin there may be. And on the onside, a mid-on and a mid-wicket. If it goes behind square on the leg side, somebody's going to have a long chase. Here's Harrison in again, slightly quicker ball, and Stanley's forward in defence. Interesting to compare Harrison and Chahal. Chahal much more likely to toss one up above the eye line. Harrison, very different stature, of course, in and Bowles, and driven into the instep, I think, of George Bartlett in there at Silly Point. He's worn 1 or 2, hasn't he?
Hasn't he?
Plucky character. Harrison, 1 ball to go in the over. And doesn't let go for some reason. Dead ball signalled by umpire Ashraf. Just having a little slightly quizzical look at where his feet were landing. Stanley facing. Harrison in. Bowles to him, and he is right across his stumps and pushes it up into the onside, past the left hand of safe save at forward short leg, end of the over. 125 for 9. Stanley is 10. Walkden is 21.
Yeah, you wonder whether Chahal might be worth a little go because of that willingness to flight it up a little bit, especially when Stanley's on strike. It might just...
He's listening to you, Scott.
He's coming on.
Yes. Well, you see, I think Luke Proctor's probably got the earpiece in, one Lancastrian to another. He wouldn't take any notice of me, but...
Chahal, who's so it's just a little burst, wasn't it, from Guthrie after lunch?
And it's fair enough. He got 1 wicket.
Absolutely, yep. 3 overs, 1 for 14. So, job done in that regard. It's got Walkden on strike. Chahal to Walkden. That's clipped away to the leg side for a single. I think the cheers, it's a very knowledgeable crowd. I think the cheers might be because Lancashire have now avoided the prospect of their heaviest defeat by runs.
That's very impressive.
That is impressive. From the Lancashire supporters, knowing that little nugget of information. Stanley defends.
Probably Mal told them at lunchtime in his Q&A.
Yeah, that cheered them up, wouldn't it?
Did you know?
1, 2, 6 for 9. Chahal to Stanley onto the front foot in defence. He's not thrown one up yet to Stanley, but I reckon he's not one too far away, which he's just going to flight up. 26 for 9. Stanley on 10. Looking, it's flat, but it turns gently away from Stanley. And a forward prod into the gloves of the keeper. 2 slip catches, Silly Point, and a forward short leg. All crouching down. Chahal to Stanley.
No ball.
Oh, he's the odd one, isn't he? It's in occasionally from Chahal.
It's his second of this innings. He bowled at least 1 in the first.
He did, yeah. Twirls his way back in again. Balls. There's one flighted up. Stanley clips out towards the leg side for a single. He moves to 11. 129 for 9. Brings Ben Walkden on strike. He's working hard to try and put some runs to his name here. He's 22 not out. That was much quicker from Chahal. Can't get that one to sneak through, so it's kept out by Walkden. So Harrison already stood there at his mark. Well, he was feeling it slip, so he didn't have far to walk, just like 3 or 4 paces to his left. But he's waiting patiently for the umpire to come across. They can hand him his cap. He's ready to have a twirl at Mitchell Stanley.
Well, fitting, I suppose, bearing in mind that we were paying tribute, and a very nicely done tribute by Lancashire County Cricket Club to Peter Lee. Played, of course, for both these counties during this match. Lost him a while back, and members of the family here to remember his contribution to Lancashire cricket. And he and David Hughes still hold the record for Lancashire's highest 10th wicket partnership against Northamptonshire, which was 75 at Wantage Road back in 1973. A little way to go, but put on 21. Now there's a lot of shouting going on towards the dressing room. I've no idea what all this is about. I think they might be trying to find another helmet.
Ah, right.
More shin pads.
Could be.
Yeah, here we go. This is George Scrimshaw coming on the field with yet another helmet.
Oh no, swapping helmets.
Oh, they're swapping helmets. Okay.
Ah, someone else going under the helmet instead of Safe Zabe.
It's Nathan McSweeney is going with the helmet on. So they've got, gosh, how is this field going to settle down? They've got slip, gully, silly point, and now it's Nathan McSweeney rather than Safe Zabe in there at short leg. Here's Harrison. Bowles brings Stanley forward, plays it into the ground, bounces up nicely for Bartlett to field at silly point. 129 for 9. Here's Harrison in, Bowles and defended, and he's played it on. And Northamptonshire have won here at Old Trafford for only the 5th time in their history, for the first time in 27 years. 1999 was the last time Northamptonshire had a championship win here. So the first time this century. They've won by 316 runs, which is their 4th highest margin of victory by a runs margin in championship cricket ever. To Calvin Harrison falls the honour of picking up the last wicket, forcing Mitch Stanley to play on. Lancashire all out for 129. Northamptonshire's 4th championship win of the season. It's their 19th win across all formats of the year, which means it is now in that measure Northamptonshire's best season since they won both the Blast and promotion in the championship back in 2013. But very satisfactory performance by Northamptonshire. Luke Proctor will be a proud man, and deservedly so. This will mean a lot to him, I know. And Northamptonshire emerging victorious after 2 very, very good days, and winning by 316 runs, Scott.
Yeah, outstanding performance. Excuse me, outstanding performance from Northamptonshire. Absolutely outplayed Lancashire in all departments. Far superior across the 3.5 days that they've needed to beat Lancashire here. Lancashire have got their own challenges to deal with, but this is a superb performance from Northamptonshire, and you can't really get a bigger and more comprehensive win than that, can you? Outstanding. They're from 90 for 5 on the first day, fought hard to get a score, 280 on the board. It gave them something to bowl at. They were just far too good for Lancashire with the ball. They out-bowled Lancashire in the match, and then their second innings took the game away, and then they've continued that outstanding discipline with the ball, completely relentless, really, with the ball. And Lancashire didn't have an answer for it. So, yeah, many congratulations to Northamptonshire. Kent win today, Northamptonshire have won today, and it's set up nicely for next week.
It certainly is, yeah. Northamptonshire will play Kent at Wantage Road starting on Thursday. And, of course, you'll be able to hear, needless to say, every ball of that match live on the BBC. I'm looking forward to that one. Can I just say, as we sort of prepare to tidy up here, thanks to you, Scott, as ever, for your company. It's been great fun. To all our special guests that we've had up here, which has been absolutely terrific, and to everyone at Lancashire County Cricket Club, who look after us so well. It's always an absolute joy to come here, and thank you very much to all concerned. And I shall nip down and get a bit of reaction, which listeners to BBC Radio Northampton will be able to hear in the breakfast programme tomorrow.
Thank you, riders. Safe trip back, and you'll be able to hear Andrew next week on the BBC Sport website and app for that game against Kent. And I'll catch you from New Road, where, yes, indeed, let's look forward to that, where Lancashire up against Worcestershire, which starts on Thursday. For next week. Thank you to Andrew, and hope you enjoyed the coverage. Congratulations to Northamptonshire, victory by 316 runs. We'll catch you soon.